Do 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 do. Okay, welcome to this week's Hoof Chat, and it is September. Just a minute here. It is September. What is today? September 23rd, 2025. All right, so today, we're gonna start with some hoof evaluations. Just a minute, I gotta get my little camera thing going here, in case I gotta demonstrate anything. Oh, done. This is called IV cam. You can put it on your phone and well, it's here somewhere. You can put it on your phone and you can use your phone for a webcam. There it is. Aha. And there we go. Except it's still not in here. Just a minute here. Um oh, yep, it's working. Okay. Oops. Turn it around. Guess I got that right. There we go. Okay. Ah, whatever. Okay. Let's see. Just a second here. All right, so today we're going to start out by doing some hoof evaluations, and let me get over to the Zoom page here. Okay, Natalie.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. I'm going to let you uh tell your story now. Do you sent me some pictures, right? Or
yeah, I
did you put
did.
them? Okay, there. Okay, so I'm going to go there and put on a picture. We'll go through the pictures, and you can tell your story. All right. So people kind of know your horse and you and where you're coming from there. So let me get to the Facebook page and
Should I start already?
yeah, you can go ahead and
Okay.
start.
Okay, so my horse is called Memory. He's a paint. Um, he's 17 now. Yeah, 17 years old.
Uh-huh.
Um, I got to know him when he was about 10, and after I bought him, he went completely lame and got diagnosed with navicular.
Hmm.
And the horse clinic kind of gave him up. Um, then I almost had him euthanized, but
Oh,
then I
wow.
decided to pull his shoes and um, take him to a barefoot clinic where he was
Hmm.
for 7 months. And maybe, on the one hand, fortunately, on the other hand, unfortunately, um, that was run by a woman who learned from Strasse.
Okay.
Um, so of course he got better. Um, and then I found a barefoot trimmer who also learned from Strasse, but did her own thing. But she still was Strasse influenced, you could
Hmm.
say. She
Okay.
didn't chop his heels off, but she didn't actively try to grow them either. Um, yeah, and then she kind of vanished into thin air, and so I had to start doing his hooves myself.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And so when did you, how long ago was this that you kind of started doing it yourself?
in I think in 22,
Okay.
roughly. And then she came back for a few trims and then she left again. And from then on, I think 23, end of 23, I
Hmm.
did it myself. And then last summer, so summer a year ago, I um, tried someone who was recommended by a friend,
Uh-huh.
but that that wasn't good. That really
Yeah.
wasn't good. Um, because then last winter, start of spring, his heels collapsed completely.
Oh.
And he had a probably low-grade laminitis. He
Hmm.
had a fracture,
Hmm.
so the wing, coffin bone wing,
Yeah.
was broken. So I couldn't do much with him, which led to more problems with his back. You can see it. Um,
Yeah.
he's not very well trained, so we're kind of building him up again, but that probably doesn't help his feet either. But he's happy. He's running around
Good.
on the pasture. Um, outside he so when we go for walks or go riding a little bit, he wears shoes,
Hmm.
boots actually,
Boots.
boots.
Uh-huh.
But almost every barefoot horse in Switzerland wears boots when they go outside.
Yeah.
And he walks over gravel, over the rocks on the path that leads to his pasture. So for his condition, he's doing really, really well.
Good. And how old again did you say he was?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Well, this is a lucky horse to have you. And
He is. Even
and
if I say so myself,
yes,
he wouldn't be alive without
that's
me.
right. That's right. And many aren't. See.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, my belief for a long time, way before uh Phoenix Way started saying it, although we have totally different views on this deal, is that this is all caused by trimming. You know, even if they put shoes on, it's not caused by the shoes. I don't have any problem with shoes. It's all caused by the belief by the beliefs that have been passed on since the first vet schools opened in France and England. They put into academia atrocious beliefs in removing heels. And the heel buttresses are are everything. I mean, I know I have been promoting heels and that horses got to have heels, but now I'm just really focusing on these heel buttresses and how they work to protect and stabilize everything in the foot. Everything in the foot, these two big giant pillars at the back of the heels. Is there like big, huge columns that support the whole structure one way or another. And so I'm coming to more and more of an understanding of uh, how detrimental it is to trim them lower than they are supposed to be. Or when the horse wears them lower than they're supposed to be, the foot will start uh, self-trimming in such a way to try and get those pillars and those heel buttresses back up under the back of the foot to hold it up because they just support everything. And for that foot to work the way it's supposed to do, it has to have correct heel buttresses. And so when it doesn't, everything starts to collapse and of course, when a building collapses, what happens? Okay. If the foundation, even on, let's say, part of it collapses, it's going to affect the whole building. Okay. Well, that's the way it is for these horses in the back of that foot and those heel buttresses. And so let's take a look here and see where you're at. Now, can I ask how old you are?
55.
55. Okay. So use potential spam call here. Let me shut that thing up. Um, so you're starting at about the same age I did.
Okay.
See? Yeah. Um, so we were just talking earlier, let everybody know about how many ladies in our group, okay, are 50 or older. And we have two ladies that are 79 years old trimming their horse. And it's not because they can't afford to have somebody else do it. It's because they were forced to out of desperation because they've been let down by every farrier and every barefoot trimmer, and many of them have had equine podiatrists too. Um, and their horses were still lame. So, and the reason is because of what is taught ultimately through the vet schools and that was passed on to the farriers. Because farriers didn't use trim like this. They believed and knew that horses needed ample heel to keep that frog up off the ground. And that, they're always saying, well, the frog is like a pump, it's got to have ground contact. Well, I got a pump. In fact, I just heard it go off. It's down in the basement here. It's a sump pump. And because it's been raining stuff, so in my little basement thing down there, it's more like a cellar. Got a hole in the ground that's cemented in, and they got a sump pump sitting there. And so when it rains, water seeps down there, and every once in a while, it's set to go automatically off. It's got like the old toilets that had those balls that were full of air, and then I don't know what they're called, but anyway, you'd flush the toilet and the
A
arm with the
float.
ball would go down. What?
Float.
A float. Yeah. And so it's got this float on it, and when it's empty, the float is down, and when it fills up with water, it raises up this steel rod which turns the pump on, and then internally the pump works from inside. Like it doesn't set off a little alarm here in my room, and then I go down and take a hammer and start beating it from the outside. See, that is not how a pump works. Uh, and at least not this kind of pump, and especially like a diaphragm pump, things like that. So these feet, those heel buttresses, were meant to keep that frog up off the ground so that it could grow to its optimum thickness with and still be worn away, but work from the inside out. Because the way it works is the pastern descends onto the digital cushion. The digital cushion then descends onto the frog and starts to push it down. Meanwhile, the frog is built in such a way that it will give while at the same time exerting tremendous pressure back up. And it was never meant that you just keep taking those heels down and making that frog wear away. And I just realized, it doesn't take much for me to take my little Proxon with my little flap disc sander and just sand that frog right down. So where do these people think? Like, do they even think mechanically at all? Where do they think that a frog is not going to just wear away to a frazzle? See, it will. And then the next thing you know, you wind up with all kinds of hoof diseases. Like right now, there's a canker epidemic. And all canker is, like they try and say, well, it's like a cancer. No, what it is you've worn the frog away. into the frog corium, and on the other side of the frog corium is the digital cushion. And so now you've got a wound, and because you keep taking the heels down so that you're beating that frog on the ground, that frog can never heal. That is what canker is. So so these horses, that's it. These heel buttresses, which are right in here, okay, have just been taken down and taken down. And the way the foot is, it's designed to curl in when the heels are worn down. It's designed to get smaller and more compact and then try and raise the back of the foot up again for the survival of the horse so that the hoof capsule stays on the horse and he doesn't walk out of his hoof capsule because it all it is a shoe, a self-grown shoe. But the heel buttresses, the only way the foot maintains its true shape and form is if it's got a correctly grown hoof capsule and especially correct buttresses. This is why it's so vital that eventually these experts start getting a clue about how the back of this foot is put together. And so, anyway, so let's go through the pictures here. So, looking here at this foot already, first of all, look at how the bars are bent. Okay, that is always a sign of trimmed out or contracted heels. See, and if we look up here, we see that the bulb is right here. The bulbs have been curled in right here, and they're uh, touching basically. So they're supposed to be like this. Let me do an annotation here, just a minute. Ideally, so you can see this, how it curls down like that and like that. Okay, well, they're supposed to be about here and about here. That's where that's supposed to be. And then this frog would be, wider up around here. Actually, they're supposed to be even wider than that. It's kind of hard to tell here. Just a minute. Let me undo this. Okay. So, and you can see how the heels are curled in like so. See this one here, you can really see how it's curled in. So, and if we look under here, look at here, just a minute here. See this piece right here? See, they're aimed in, both heels are aimed in this way, basically, when they're supposed to kind of go more like this. And that might even be too curled in, maybe about like so. So the object, what we do is try and start growing these heels. And here's the thing, it is natural for these feet, and I might have said this already, that when you lower the heels, they're automatically going to want to curl in. And sometimes uh, they'll they'll curl in and they'll go wide. Like instead of these heels here, let's see, instead of these heels, which we see right here, okay, coming inward like so as they're being trimmed out. Okay, instead, what'll happen is if they follow the shape of the foot, okay, they can wind up wider. Like they could wind up wider, like even out here. And this is the most deceiving one because it's these feet that they try and say are good feet, and that is the feet that they don't have a contracted heel or a contracted frog. They actually have what looks like a very wide heel and a very wide frog, like this. See, but the heels will be out here. but it's the same thing. It's just a different way the foot distorts. So the foot again, it can either contract in like this, where you have very narrow frog and uh yeah, just a very narrow frog, or instead the heels will go wide and they'll pull the frog wide with it. See? So it can go either way. Let's see.
Linda?
Yeah.
So when you get a horse that has the wide heels and the wide frog, what is the clue that the heel buttress has been trimmed out?
Well, um, usually they have a hairline, a 30-degree hairline. Um, Not always though, because some feet refuse to let the cartilage pull down and stuff. But a lot of times they'll have a 30-degree hairline and you'll see the hairline on the ground. And that means that the frog stay and everything has been pulled under the foot and stuff. So a good example of that would be looking at well, God, like what does it matter? Um a good example would be looking at the feet that are trimmed by the David Landerville method. Okay, because they uh pull all that anatomy down behind the foot by ramping the heels and trimming off the back of the frog. And so the cartilages and everything get pulled down. And just the way that he's designed to do it, that he's figured out, because see, he thinks he's developing the foot because he's making it look like Jamie Jackson's One Dead Wild Horse foot that wore its heels out. And so as the capsule gets smaller, the back of the cartilages round out and uh well, like if you're squeezing something into a smaller unit and then it starts bulging out, well, the back of the foot starts to bulge out. And so they think that this is developing the digital cushion. They think they are developing the soft tissues when in reality, they are compressing the soft tissues into a smaller container and they're just bulging out the back. See, I'm trying to think. I know I got some pictures. I was just looking at them. I was trying to remember which file I had them in where you see, he is so convinced he's developing the back of the foot and he's has everybody else convinced of that too. But anyway, his trim pretty much will develop that wider foot just by the way he mimics the wear, because he tried for many years to get that exact foot that Jamie Jackson has on that One Dead Wild Horse. And of course, that horse did it. It was able to eventually, over years, wear its feet into that shape. And, but everybody has to remember that that was a dead horse. He got a dead horse from the start. And so when you see pictures of that foot and people are saying, oh, it was off a healthy, hard-working wild horse. Well, how do they know that? It died in a roundup. So these wild horses can live to a very ripe old age. And the reason we know that is because now we have wild horse advocates that have been following these horses for decades, following different groups of wild horses for decades. And they've named them all. They all got names. They know who was born from where and who and where at and everything like that. It's really pretty awesome. And so they have pictures. They know when the horses disappeared. They know when a lot of them died. They know when they were born. See? Uh, and they can live to be old because let me tell you what, they're healthy. These stories about, oh, they're all starving to death. No, they're not. You might have some cases in some area where something might have happened where they're not doing that well. But overall, our wild horses here in America are fat and sassy and super healthy. See? Um, so and there's plenty of room for them too on federal lands. Don't call it public lands, people. Where you hear this stuff and they'll say, "Oh, well, it's public lands." They tell you that because they want you to advocate for them. Because they not only want the wild horses off the land, they want you off eventually too. So they want to get your carbon footprint off of there, and they want to get the wild horse off there because the wild horse is a symbol of colonization. See, colonization and white supremacy. That's the way they look at the wild horse because it was brought over here by the settlers and blah, blah, blah. So they want to get rid of the wild horse for those reasons. And it's not the rancher that wants to get rid of the wild horse. That's all propaganda. They see, I was raised in Wyoming. I was raised around wild horses. Okay, I know what the ranchers out there think and stuff. And it is not the ranchers want to get rid of the horses, but they use the ranchers to try and get rid of the wild horse. Now, why would you? Now, you'd wonder, wouldn't you? Why would they want to get rid of the wild horse? Well, that's a horrible story in and of itself. They actually want to get rid of those horses and transplant a different breed of horse that they consider to be more of a true wild horse, one that was never really super domesticated by nasty humans. And they want to put those kind of horses on the land. And this is what I'm talking about here is your environmentalist nonprofits. That's what they want to do. They want to cut. Okay, this is not conspiracy theory. I can take you right onto the web to their very own sites, and you will see they don't like the feral horse, the wild horse. They want to get rid of it, and they want to eventually get people off the land. They want to open up a whole corridor from Mexico on up through Wyoming and Montana and into Alaska. Um, and they want to what's called rewild it and get as many humans as they can off of it and put what they call proxy species on it, which are, let's see, proxy species is a species of animal that would have lived here 10,000 years ago. Okay, so they want to put camels out there. If they can, they'll put some elephants out there. If they can resurrect a woolly mammoth, they're going to do that because I was in Wyoming and I used to find mammoth teeth and things like that. And you'll find old fossils of camels. And I mean, saber-toothed tigers used to be there 10, 12,000 years ago. And so they want to put these animals there because what they want, this is what they believe. They believe that somehow we all stopped our evolution. And so if they can just get themselves a little wild area and get humans off of it and put a bunch of animals there, then they believe that Mother Nature will start evolving again. See, and so that's their thought behind the rewilding program that's going on all over the world. So anyway, sorry to get on that. It's a pet peeve of mine. And this is all factual, provable in what they think and what they're trying to do. So yeah, they're gonna right now they're gathering up 3,000 head of horses or some ungodly amount off of Wyoming because they want to clear it out for this little program of theirs. And so there's lots of nasty things going on with people all over the world and what they're trying to do to our environment while claiming to be supporting the environment. So anyway, they're not people friendly. Let's put it that way. Or horse friendly. Don't like the wild horse. So anyway, um, I don't even remember how I got on that. but it's stuff that we need to know. We need to know what people are planning for our environment. It belongs to all of us. Okay. And so, anyway, as regarding these feet, originally they were supposed to have heels, but Jamie Jackson went and found himself one dead wild horse. And here we are today. Because originally, it was believed that horses should have heels up until 250 years ago, where in the first vet schools, they started this deal of taking heels down for the purpose of hoping that the horses would not slip on the pavement. And that is the God's truth right there. The whole purpose for why people started taking the heels down again was because of a French guy that thought if you took the heels down so that the horse was walking on the frog, he wouldn't sleep, would not slip on the pavement. And this guy was an academic and he was farrier to the King of France. And he was backed up by the medical academies of the time. And so now here we are. That's why you and I are here right now because of that one man and how that doctrine, that belief, that practice went into the schools. So, anyway, I don't know how much I've skipped around here. So, what we're looking at here is the fact that these heel buttresses right here that are supposed to be supporting pillars have been trimmed down. And, well, actually, the heel buttress is right here. I can see it. Okay, see, this is the coronary band. So I think this is sidewall right here because the heel buttress would actually be growing from this area right here. See it? This little nubbin right here is where the very end of the coronary band, where the heel buttress grows from. Be like, let's see, let me put it up here. Say this is the inner foot, this little piece right here. That's your coronary band. Okay, this piece right here is this piece right here. So how can that be growing a heel buttress when it's pulled around, down, and under right there? So the heel buttress would grow from here, and that thing is what stabilizes the whole foot.
Linda,
Yeah.
that's what I'm asking myself. Can he regrow a heel buttress? Is that even possible, or yeah, is it gone, kind of?
Well, I believe he can regrow a heel buttress, you
Okay.
know. Um,
And sorry to interrupt, maybe could we look at the most recent picture? Because
yeah.
I didn't make much progress, but I think I made at least some. Um, and maybe the back of his foot looks a little different,
Okay,
or maybe
because
just the front, because those are a year ago, from a
these
year
ones.
ago.
Okay. Is this
Um,
still a year ago or
yeah, and that wasn't me. That was the trimmer that I got rid of at the
okay.
beginning of this year. They were just for comparison's sake. Um,
Okay. This is still 24.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
and here you can really see where the heel buttresses are turned in, you know. See, it's just so interesting the way these feet work and how it just deforms the whole back of the foot. Um, let's see here. Okay, this is still now
yeah.
now look here. You see, let's just look at this here for a second. Okay, so this is probably sidewall and not heel buttress
I think
right
so, yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Um, the heel buttress is curled around in and probably covered over because you know what we're supposed to have here ultimately would be like this. I don't even know. I don't even think that's right, but not a very good picture. And so the all these horn tubules should be in alignment, getting gradually shorter as they come back here. See how, of course, if this was a heel buttress, the coronary band be like this, and the inner foot would be about like so. And so your heel buttress will be growing right here. So right now you look back here, it looks like it's only about that long. And that would be sidewall. So all this wall here, all this has to grow in, and so this is why, just a minute here. This is why we allow this part to grow higher than the sole so that the weight it's weighted and therefore it's easier for the growth that is coming out up here. It's easier. See, this foot is under a lot of pressure to want to escape and go back to where it's supposed to be. Um, these cartilages are not. Just a minute. Hold on. I cannot turn this stupid phone off. Okay, there we go. Um, okay, these cartilages are under a lot of pressure. They are being forced down. And so not only that, but they're attached to the digital cushion, which is also being forced down. It's actually being pulled down by the the portion of wall and buttress and bar that grows from it. So when you trim the buttresses lower than they're supposed to be, it they pull the back of this foot down. And again, because this cartilage is attached to digital cushion, and then in the center you've got frog as well. Well, it is forcing and pulling that anatomy down. And so there is a constant pull on that anatomy to pull back up. And so we allow that to work for us. Okay? And so we know, like for example, that if the wall gets too long, say here in the toe quarter right here, we know that if that is left too long, or it can even be in the quarter, that the wall will start to jam back up. And instead of a nice smooth growth ring like so, it'll start to go like this. And that eventually it can jam clear up into the coronary band where the coronary band is going like this. So we know that the wall is dovetailed. By dovetailed, who can explain what dovetailed is? Anybody know in regards to carpentry? Does anybody know what that means? See, see, here's the whole thing about um, these feet. We have to understand how they grow and how it works, how what the true foot is, and then how it gets distorted. And so why would wall jam up like that just because you leave it long? Why wouldn't it necessarily just flare out like so? Well, eventually it will. When it can't, hmm. Somebody's here. When it can't jam up, or no, I guess that I did that. Thought I saw somebody mark on there. So anyway, when it can't jam up anymore, then it will start to flare. You'll see this in the quarters too, where you're supposed to have an arc like this. Okay, you'll see it raised up like that if the quarter's left too long. And then once it can't jam up anymore, it will start to flare out. Another thing that'll happen is it'll get between the growth rings, it will compress. Like if you have a growth ring that's right here and one that's right here, it will compress and and they will come closer together and then you'll have a bulge, a ring, there. And so this is all in response to pressures that are usually being put on the bottom of the foot where it's not getting trimmed enough or worn enough. And so what it is it's kind of a self-leveling system in the foot and stuff, but it can only self-level for so long before you wind up with a whole bunch of distortion and jamming and things like that. And so dovetail. So this wall grows down from the coronary band and it is dovetailed. And that means it's not velcroed. They try and associate the lamina with velcro. Well, it's not velcroed. It is dynamically dovetailed. And so what is dovetail? Just a minute, because I want to look at that for just a second, because I want you to totally understand this concept. So I'm going to go to the internet here. Let's see. And I'm going to, just a second here. Let me get out of here for just a second. I'm going to look up dovetailing. What is dovetailing? Okay, dovetailing is like, let's see, dovetailing, let's see, share. Okay, I'm there. Okay, dovetailing has two main meanings: a strong woodworking joint with interlocking fan-shaped pieces that form a secure connection. The act of two things fitting together perfectly, whether literally or figuratively, such as jobs or ideas merging seamlessly. So let's look at a picture of this. Okay, do you see this? Just a minute here. Okay, do you see this? Did I get a bigger picture?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. See that? Now these are glued. Okay? Um but on a horse they're not glued. One side is the hoof capsule. Like you could say this is the hoof capsule and this is the foot. And so the lamina themselves are dovetailed, but it is like it's not just a dovetailing like this. Okay, it would be similar to this, only they would have, let's see, they would have not only dovetail here, but coming off the sides, they would have this here. And then and on each deal, like, okay, just a minute here. Okay, and then here, something like that. So that's another form of dovetailing. Like if you had a little cut here and here, and then this piece had a piece that inserted here and here, but not just that. Okay, it's also got let's see, it's also got this on all of them.
No wonder it's so hard to get the hoof capsule off.
Oh yeah, I mean it is so intricate, but it is not at all like Velcro. Velcro don't move. This slides down. And see, you could actually make this. I mean, but it would be extremely difficult. But I'll tell you what, that drawer would never come apart. you know. So it's got dovetailing going every which way. And then the wall is attached and slides down as it grows. Well, if it can slide down, then it can slide up. And here's the deal: what they teach, which came out of England, and Edward Coleman, the evil professor, Edward Coleman, that ran the school for 40 years, he came up with the idea that the coffin bone is suspended in the foot by the lamina. He didn't know it was dovetailed. He didn't know it slid down and grew like that and stuff. And he assumed that this dovetailing bore the weight of the horse. And so they thought the sole, he taught the sole was only concave, and that you should trim the sole out so it's very thin, and then you put the shoe only on the wall edge, and that the weight was then transferred to the lamina, that it was the lamina on the sides of the foot that bore the whole weight of the horse, and that they were like springs. Well, that don't work because the wall is dovetailed. And so what happens is when you put the force the wall to bear the weight alone, then the wall will gradually jam up and shove the coronary band way, way up. And and so you're taking the heels out at the same time. Remember that. But you're putting an iron shoe on it with nails, so you're really creating a torture device. And shoes are not a torture device, but when you trim a foot like that and you believe all these different things, you turn it into a torture device, is what they did. And so the feet will adapt and adapt, and horses are stoic. you know this kind of pain will not necessarily lead to limping or overt lameness that you can see, but these horses would have had constant inflammation and breakdown and tearing down of the lamina, to where eventually, surprise surprise, they get laminitis. See, once that toe grows way out there from you taking the heel down, and once the lamina are all compromised now that you've been forcing to load, and you've been trimming the sole out from underneath the toe, well, eventually the wall pushes out and the sole drops down and you have laminitis. And what happens is they think it happened overnight. Well, it didn't happen overnight. It was happening over time, but it was not because they had high heels. Okay. If you see that, or if you see somebody just showing x-rays and saying, look, this horse had laminitis because it had high heels, and then they go and trim it and show you an x-ray and say, look, we fixed it. They didn't fix it. If you don't understand that these horses have two units that you have to take into consideration when understanding them: a foot that is covered with skin, a whole foot covered with skin, and then a hoof capsule that comes off in one piece like a shoe, but that grows from and is attached to that foot, just like your fingernail is attached to the end of your finger. So okay, so the first thing we have to realize is the whole wall is dovetailed. It begins growing at the coronary band. It develops the lamina of the hoof capsule to attach to the lamina of the inner foot, and then as it grows down, it slides down. Okay, so let's go back here. Just a second here. Oops. Let's see.
So
They're
it's
all
not kind of
drawings.
like a Ziploc bag closing,
What?
like a Ziploc bag, when you slide it close, it
Yeah,
interdigitates.
yeah, that's a form of dovetailing too. You mean if you were sliding the drawer closed?
No, sliding the Ziploc bag, like,
Oh yeah, okay.
and then yeah, you got it.
Yeah, yeah, because that's a form of dovetailing. If you took the bag apart, and cut the sides and then took little pieces stuck together, I bet you could just slide them apart. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Just like the lamina of the hoof.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna go back to pictures. Let's see here. Where am I? Okay, so I was looking at one particular foot. Okay, so this foot here. Okay, so these heels right here, which this part here, let me annotate again. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to grow in the part that's been trimmed out. And so ultimately, this foot would be about, let's say that's the coronary band, and we'll draw the foot here. This is not real accurate here. All right. But just to get an idea. Okay. Okay. So then the hoof capsule, the buttress grows from here, at least this much further down than the internal foot would be. So it's attached to the back of the foot. Now, on this foot, this part of the foot, which is cartilage right here, would be crushed forward and up. So it doesn't have this definition. And so in restoring the heels, the heel buttress, as it's restored, has to actually pull the foot back into to its original shape as close as possible. And so the heel buttress attaches to the back of the foot and grows down to support it. I'm making this foot just a little bigger. Now your sole is under here. That would be your sole. And so now we're looking at the foot where it's at. Wait a minute. Here, the cartilage, which is pulled down this way, would be more up like this. That's not very good, but more like that. And so all of this has to come up. So what happens is, this is why just a second here. Got to look for a different color. We'll look for green. Use green. This part of the foot, we always want to be bearing weight right in here. I mean, you want it to bear weight, especially back here, right about, well, let's see. See right here where it curves down? Okay, so right in here, you want it to bear weight so that as it grows. So remember, everything's under pressure. If the hoof capsule were to come off, well, I can't really say that exactly because the hoof capsule supports the foot and helps it retain its shape. Because when you take a hoof capsule off, the back of the foot just kind of relaxes and falls down. But this wall, all in here, needs to grow in. And so if you put weight on the wall, the wall, which is dovetailed, it makes it more difficult for it to grow down and past the sole here. It makes it more difficult. It offers resistance pushing up. And so then as the wall grows, as this cartilage is pulling up, the growth that's coming down stays here. It stays right here. Just a minute. So the growth stays right here. And over time, it adds wall into the capsule. And it starts to expand the foot. And what you wind up doing is you grow all this wall back in here. This little piece that's right here, now it's going to be up here. See, it will no longer be down here. So and you'll see this whole bulb rise and move back, because what happens is you're leaving capsule in the foot instead of growing it out down and trimming it off. Do people kind of understand where I'm coming from on that?
So are you saying to leave that section of hoof wall long so it kind of jams up to create
Yeah,
really okay.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah. It'll be harder for the wall to grow out and down. And so what'll happen is then the growth coming in will be tempted to stay up here at the top instead of pushing all the way down and out on the bottom. And so the wall that is growing in will stay up here. And as it does, it allows the whole back of the foot and the cartilage to rise and return to where it wanted to be.
So basically, we shorten the wall a little bit in front of that area.
Well, I'm like, oh God. Well,
Yeah, because how else are you going to get that to bear weight unless the wall in front of it is a little bit higher, a
well,
little shorter?
yeah, I see what you're saying there, but like on this foot here, since I can't see the bottom, for all I know, this part here could be bearing weight, you know, and stuff.
I also have a question about, doesn't that, so how do you put a notch in?
Oh, you can still put a notch in, you
Would
know.
you recommend that? Because I tried, I wrote to Sharon Smith
Mm-hmm.
twice, and the
Uh-huh.
last time she told me to put just little notches in, I think like Marilyn did, because I didn't dare make bigger notches with his
Mm-hmm.
feet. But I think in one of the last hoof chats you said that, yeah, if the notches were too small, they wouldn't achieve anything.
I
But
went back and put bigger notches. Not real big, but big for me.
Mm-hmm.
bigger, because I really don't dare to put big not. He has nothing actually to
Yeah.
work
Yeah,
with.
so you don't want to do that with him and stuff. All you're really focusing on is letting this part grow here.
So,
See, and this
Linda,
gradually come up like so.
could you find the pictures of September this year just to see if
Okay.
something like this has
Yeah.
already happened? Because I've been following TACT for about 11 months now,
Mm-hmm.
except for the so-called professional trimmer that interfered. Um, and I've been also helped by TACT Germany and got good feedback.
Okay.
But I seem to be, maybe I'm not stuck, maybe I've just got the impression that I'm stuck. I'm always cleaning up his frog. I try to um, take the toe quarters down, but he wears his toes off quite a lot. And I don't want to make his hooves smaller and smaller or
Yeah.
lower them. So if I try to keep up with the toe quarters to match his toes,
Uh-huh.
then I make them shorter and shorter. So that's quite difficult, and I never know how much periopal I should take away. I think his frogs are quite froggy now and not so much periopal material anymore.
Okay.
But I'm quite conservative. I'd
So
rather
this is current, right? What was what foot were we looking at before?
before it was the left front. This is the right hind,
Mm-hmm.
and the lateral side of the right hind is the worst, absolutely the worst. Really run forward. Um, the seat of corn
Mm-hmm.
is I try to keep it free, but the heel folds over immediately if it gets a little too long. It folds over the seat of corn and it
Mm-hmm.
grows horizontally and not vertically. It's quite strange,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, it can't. Is this it?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's absolutely the worst.
Yeah, and that's just because the whole foot is bent down like this, and so the coronary band is bent down like this, and it can only grow that way. And the thing is, what I found is that sometimes you can't be too uh oh, how to put it. Sometimes you just need to let that piece kind of get a little bit longer anyway,
Okay.
to lift the back of that foot up a little more. And then like I noticed you got a little notch here, so that's good and stuff. But sometimes you just need to let this little area in here grow anyway, even if it seems to get long, you know.
And even if it grows over the seed of corn,
Yeah.
because it doesn't grow forward, it folds over and it really grows horizontally. Not even diagonally
Yeah.
forward, but
Yeah, you can see that and stuff. Maybe what I would try and do is just put a little bit bigger notch here to see if this cartilage can't kind of pull that up some, because
okay.
because it can pull that up, you know. um it's trying to figure out mechanically what you can do to help it, you know, and stuff. So you see that that is really pulled down there, and I
Yeah.
think you could put a little bit more of a notch right here, right in here, without
Okay.
lowering it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And see, because remember, this cartilage is pulling up, and the digital cushion is also compressed, and so that pressure is pushing up as well. So if you put a little more of a notch, let me annotate it here. This would probably help it, because this here, just this here, will also kind of keep it pulled under as well. So if you could come up in here, not that high. Wait a minute. Sorry. Sorry. Didn't mean to freak you out there. Just a little bit more, like so.
Okay, and that wouldn't be dangerous, so he wouldn't
No,
collapse completely.
no, I do not believe so.
Okay.
See,
Okay.
um, and it'll
And
take some of the pressure off of this part right here, so that the foot will want to straighten. The back of the foot may have enough power to kind of straighten up, because look, you
yeah.
can even see this crack right here. See that
Yeah.
little crack?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I mean the heel is not supposed to be like this, and you just got a
No.
little bit here.
Linda, can
So
I cut it for a second?
yeah, sure.
So I sent you a couple pictures. Hopefully they came through.
Okay.
I think I notched too much.
Okay.
And it looks like my horse's heels dropped down within the last month.
Okay, I
So
will
I'm
go
curious
look at that. Just a
if
minute
there's a
here.
way to know like how much and when to notch, or we're still figuring that all out.
Yeah, we're still figuring all that out. That's why it's called research.
Right. It worked well on her back feet, but her front feet seem to have collapsed more.
Huh.
And she's one we were talking about earlier where the heels go wide
Uh-huh. Okay.
instead of curling in.
Was that you, Rachel? I thought that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. And this is my 2-year-old.
Okay.
Had run forward heels from birth.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I think that the notch was just in the wrong spot.
Okay.
So, uh, yeah. In fact, you can tell where it's wanting to be notched. Just a second here. Let me let me enlarge this. Do here. Okay. See this? See this foot here? Okay, see, you're putting a notch clear up here, but where the notch needs to be is back here. See how it's got that crease right there and that line?
Okay.
Okay, because your real heel, okay, is right about here. Right about here, but see, it's all grown in and it's clear up here. So this can't do anything but grow forward. So let me annotate here. So your notches need to be back further towards the heels. And that's for everybody. You know, um, see, here's the back of the foot. So her real heel ends about here. See there? And so the notch needs to be like here.
But I
About
Okay.
like
thought we needed to
about
keep
like
that
that.
longer to kind of force the jamming of the coronary band up so it can expand. I'm confused.
What?
Yeah, I sent soul shots of those feet too. Because I feel like I was only like a half inch to an inch in front of the back part of the heel there. So I don't,
From the way it looked like at the sole?
yeah. So I don't know
Okay.
if I could have gone back farther.
Well, see
Maybe it
the
wasn't the right time.
okay. So so if it was me, I would look at the side of this foot and I would see where the heel was here. Okay. And I would know that this part of the foot should not be clear over here. See? That this is actually supposed, look how it's bent right here. See there? So that's kind of telling us something right here, just how this goes straight here and then bends down right here, because this chunk of wall here is holding that heel under. And the thing about it is, so so the foot here is grown forward, is grown forward. So when you look at the sole, okay, you're looking at the sole, you're probably seeing it from here to here. Let me go look. Just a second here. The sole is the most deceptive part of the foot, just so people know. So let's see here. Okay, share. Yeah, because see your heels on all these feet, the bottom, you've got what we would call run forward foot syndrome. And that's just where the whole sole of the foot has gradually been pushed out from underneath the horse's foot. Which can happen pretty easily. It happens all the time to people. Um, let's see here. Okay, so let's see. Let me save that image again. Yeah, that makes it hard when you're looking at the sole because the sole is not under the foot where it's supposed to be. The sole, like here, just a minute here. Let me annotate. Okay, so you've got the foot here when it's supposed to be here. That doesn't mean you take the heel down though. Okay, and so you put a notch here when the true notch should be about here. It should be further back, even though it looks like the heel's here, because you got to remember your heels are run forward and displaced way forward. The whole foot here is kind of like slid out from underneath where it's supposed to be. That's why when you're looking at the sole, you're thinking, well, how can I do that? And stuff. Well, that's because, these feet grow down and forward. And so gradually it's just inched its way forward out from underneath the foot. And so you have to go by what the side of the foot says and not by what you're seeing here on the sole, because the sole view is the most deceptive view of the whole foot. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see.
But if
Yeah,
she puts a notch where you suggested further back, what's to prevent what's of her heel not to crush forward? Like I forget her name, but I think the horse's name is Magic's Hoof. If she puts a notch in this area, how will the heel still stay up and not jam forward?
well, let's go look at the other. Just a minute. Let us go back to the other view. Hold
I'm
on.
not trying to take time away from Rachel, but I know the other lady is in Europe and it's late.
Yeah. Um, so let's go back to this after we do her, okay? Because I know she's gonna. Okay, so
I didn't want to take away from her. I just thought it might be a good example to,
no, you're fine and
yeah.
stuff.
No
Okay,
problem. That's very interesting, Rachel.
and stuff. But if we were to measure these heels, like if you measure these heels, like have you measured your heels? How long are they?
I did not measure time, but they hover around 1 3/4, I think.
Okay, because of course, this is a 2-year-old, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so they, well, see, it's probably deceptive too, just because of the way this is grown here. And so actually this part that's curled around may be shorter. Okay. But if you come over to the side of the foot and look, okay, see, you can see where on every one of these feet, they're wanting to kind of make a notch in the same spot. You can see a crease. Now I can tell proportionately that the heels on this foot, the side, see, we're looking at where is this foot bearing weight on the side of the foot? Okay. Because a lot of times the heel buttress that's curled kind of around the back is not necessarily the main weight bearing structure. So just a minute here. Oh, boop, 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 boop. Just a second. Okay, there we go. So on all of these, you can kind of tell there's like this little crease where this chunk here is wanting to break off. See?
Yeah, I see that.
And so see, and even up here. which might be a little too short, but you can still see there's some sort of pressure going on. Of course, this is the same foot, right? And stuff. So this is
Yes.
9-7. So just in the last month, you can see where this foot here has curled under more than it was here. Is this the same foot? It's the same foot, see? And stuff. And so this piece here is now clear down here. See it? That's the same part. And so you're going to have to come in here and do a notch right in here and take that out and stuff, because this whole piece, see, and I can show you on my horse too, where I had a big old long piece that ran forward. Here, let me, oops, oh no, wait a minute. Okay, so you've got this piece of hoof now that's like this. See it? And it's supposed to be this piece here, this piece that's running here, supposed to be right about here. And this piece here. Okay, and you can see how it pulled the bulb down too. See that? See, it's sneaky. These tubules just sneak up on you and grow out of bounds. And so this piece here, this would be back up here. And this piece right here should be like this. See it? See, the thing is that this capsule can add capsule into it. It can add it in down at the bottom and push stuff forward. And see how big this chunk is here compared to this piece here? Let me show you something here, just a minute here on my own horse where I had the same thing going on. Just a minute here. So hold on. Okay, just a second here. I'll find it. Okay, so you see the foot here? You see that piece? It's the same piece you got. You see how my my foot is slipping out from underneath? Now all this looks pretty good right in here, but somehow this just decided to take over and start adding, as it added capsule into the foot right here. And then also the back of the foot started collapsing. And what happens is this part's growing out from underneath the actual foot. And so I'm just showing here how the weight distribution changed. And so I couldn't just like cut this out or cut it down. I had to grow it back and get these horn tubules to back up and straighten up. And so here you see, I've got some more here. Just a minute here. This gives you an example kind of what happens. Like here, this part is too long as well. It had to come back also. Okay, here you go. Here's an example of what happened. How I had to move this whole part back. The back of the foot had to come pull back more. And this is right after I started. Well, actually, I'd been growing in heels for about a year, but I'd only known about the heel buttress for about 6 months. I was growing in the heels for a completely different reason, to correct underrun heels. I fully planned on chopping them off again once I got these horn tubules to straighten up. And so what I was trying to do was get these horn tubules on run. I didn't even know I had run forward heels, other than when I gave up barefoot trimming and let my horse's feet grow for a year. When they grew out, all these barefoot horses have run forward heels. They just keep them all trimmed out so you don't even know it. Okay. And so when they grow out, this is exactly what it looks like. See? And so what I was doing was I understood that these are like little dominoes here. They're structural dominoes. And so I knew that, let me annotate here, just a second here. I knew that these horn tubules here, if they're like this, that they got to come back to here. But look at how long that would be. If this horn tubule that belongs right here winds up here, it gradually added capsule or hoof wall into the capsule where it didn't belong. So it's going to pull these horn tubules with it. See? And what's it doing? It is displacing horn tubule back here, and it is adding it up here. And it's just like I've seen heels that were this long. Okay? So just a minute here. So what I had to do, because this piece here, instead of being like this, was, as you see, like this. And so what I had to do is, at that time, I didn't do notches or anything. I just beveled over close to the white line. And what happens is that, see, because what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting this piece here to kick back up like this. And so how do I do that? Well, I bevel the wall to where this piece is not bearing weight on the ground. And because the foot is under pressure to want to return to where it goes, see, there's a pull on all of this all the time. And so then what happens is the wall will relax. It'll relax because it's not supposed to be right there like that anyway. So I bevel it up like this. It relaxes by falling down like that. It has moved back into place and there's less wall. And so it'll do this a lot of times within a few days. And you think the wall grew, and it may have grown a little, but what really happened was when I shortened this up, it relaxed down like that. And well, it pulled all the other horn tubules with it, see? Everything moved. And it pushed these ones behind it back as well. So I would bevel like this and it would relax. And then I come out, it would look like it grew. So I would bevel it again. Uh-oh. I would bevel it again so that it was up like this, and it would relax again and fall back, and it would pull everything in front of it back and push everything behind it back. And so, then I might come out and bevel it again, and then come out in a few days and the bevel was still there. So it had kind of pulled back and relaxed at that point all that it was going to. See, I come back here, be like that. Well, then it's taken all of this as well that was like this and slowly moved it back like that also, because I gave it room to move. And so that's what you need to do. Now we have notches. I might have used notches then if I'd have known about that, but just beveling, understanding the concept of the weight bearing in this area, that if it's bearing weight, it can't move. It can't move. If it's on the ground, it can't move. And so you bevel it, it's going to relax back. You bevel it, give it ground clearance, it's going to relax back. You bevel it, give it ground clearance, and gradually it takes, well, look at this. Just a minute here. Let me
And you
undo
got all
this.
that done in 4 months. That is crazy to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see the date on there 10/3, 6 to 10. Yeah. Um, but it was something I had to really stay on top of, and stuff. And notice it took everything back. It stood the toe up more. Um, everything. See, let's see.
Linda, I have a question.
Okay.
What is for me that I'm new to this, I'm learning. What is the difference when you between bevel the hoof and using the nippers to cut it?
Oh, you can if you want to use nippers instead of, well, see, I bevel with the rasp.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people will use nippers first and then finish it off with the rasp, smooth it out and stuff. And like especially on the inside, you want to make sure you don't leave any sharp edges
Yes.
because because when you nip that off, it'll leave a very sharp edge. Or if even if you bevel it off and rasp it, it'll leave a sharp edge. You want to make sure you take the small teeth and round it because it's sharp enough that if he was to overreach over on his other leg, he could cut himself.
Okay, I saw in a few videos that you were bevel the hoof, and I was wonder there's no risk of producing separation when you like a bevel like from the bottom to upward.
No, I've never had that happen.
Okay,
In
no,
fact,
I'm just wondering like
yeah. In fact, it actually helps the foot come together more because it takes the leverage off. It's like the difference
Mhm.
between having shorter fingernails and digging a hole in the dirt with your hand and having long fingernails and digging a hole in the dirt with your hand. Your fingernails are going to stay together better if they're a little shorter,
Yeah,
you know. But
yeah, yeah,
whereas also the fingernail helps dig the dirt,
yeah.
but if my fingernails are too long, then I'm going to have separation.
Yes, I got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're
Linda,
welcome.
before you get off this page, if you look at the bottom right-hand picture, where you have that overlaid chunk of wall that came off, you look
Yep.
at that white, yeah, look at that little white triangle just below
Yeah.
you. Yeah, and then plop that up on the original foot where you'd have a notch, and that's exactly what you took off.
Huh?
I just happened to see it. My eyes do funny
Oh,
things.
oh, it would be kind of a notch, wouldn't it?
It would be exactly where you'd put a notch to get what you got.
Oh, yep, that's right.
That's one of your good sized notches right there.
That's right. That would be like a notch. It sure
Uh-huh.
would. So, you know, the reason we started using notches, which is sometimes too, I believe we need to use all these tools, you know, because you can't just because the horse will naturally bevel his foot as well, right? Round off the edges and things like that. Um, but the reason we started using that because we kept looking at these wild horses, how when their feet get long and it pulls the bulbs under in the back, which is kind of the same as like what happens when you trim the heels out too, how they will notch their own feet. It is such a common thing, and it is mainly structural because when this gets pushed forward, it's displacing the horn tubules that are attached to the white line in the quarter. Have you ever noticed how so many horses don't have a tight white line in the quarter? and they'll say, oh, well, there's a natural arch there. Well, no, there isn't. But what there is when the heels get pulled under or trimmed out, it'll bend the foot right here and it'll displace the tubules so that they're not growing down in the right spot and connecting. Because, the wall grows down internally on the other side of like this line right here internally. It's connected to the lamina right here, grows to here, and then it connects with the sole via the white line, and then they grow to the ground together. And so you have a nice tight white line. And so then if the wall grows down and it connects with the sole right here and then they grow down together, you'll have a tight white line. But if the wall is becoming and getting pushed forward like this, it can no longer connect real good right here. So there's kind of a disconnect right here. And so you have separation of the white line. And you always see that. And that's why they're always making a scoop, because they think that the quarter has a natural arch when it's just a bend in the foot due to hoof capsule distortion. So then I found I had all that. That when I got all this line back up, that then I had a tight white line all the way around here. And I sure wish at this time I would have known what I know now, because I can look at pictures of my horse's feet and I can see places where if I would have really known what was going on, I could have taken him back to where he should have been much, much sooner. Okay. All right. So Rachel, um, we'll when we're done here with Natalie, we'll go back to your horse and think about what you can do to get this foot back underneath him. Now you see how the foot moved back underneath him, back here. Yeah, and see, we got to remember this is just a shoe, and so basically what's happening is the shoe is growing off the foot, and just sliding the sole out from underneath his actual foot here. Okay. Let's see here. Well, here, I'll show you this real quick. Here's an example, a pretty good example of the dovetailing of this would be the foot, the sensitive lamina, and this would be the insensitive. This is a hoof capsule. The insensitive lamina here dovetailed to the sensitive lamina. That's kind of gives you an idea of what it looks like there. Say only on all these little strands, you got other little pieces coming out like that. So even they are dovetailed. So wow, you know. Okay. Um, let's see. Where am I at? What am I doing? Okay. Go back to this. Okay, so yeah, you can see now. Can you see where this sneaky thing just pulled right out from underneath you here and pulled the back of her foot down?
Yes.
See how cartilage is there, and boy, it just, but the thing about it is that foot wants to go back up. So you're basically going to have to take this chunk off here. Well, one thing you could first do is come in and just a minute here. Share. Always look at the side of your feet and just a minute here. Let me annotate. Always look at the side of your feet, and you should never see anything that does this here when you're looking at the side. Whenever you look at the side of these feet, you should always first, before you do anything, before you make any notches or bevels or anything, you want to look at the side of the foot and you want to see if when you're looking at it, it looks flat. That it looks just totally flat from here to the heel, like so. See, because otherwise, this little piece here will just get out of bounds and keep growing longer and longer and longer. And I can see what happened to you is that because that sole view is so confusing, you know, the sole, you look at the sole and go, well, the notches look like they're in the right place. But when you look at the side of the foot, you find out that the sole has actually, the whole sole is lying to you and it's slipped forward. See? And so, like on a foot like this, I would come in here and I would just take that right off, that chunk right there. Look, it still leaves you lots of heel. Look at that heel there. See that? You still got actually a lot of heel, even though it doesn't look like it from the bottom or from the back. Um, And so you come in and you take that off. Yeah, everybody. This is just a standard rule. You take a picture, you can tell too, standing looking down, okay, or sitting or whatever. If you see that the side of the foot, you're getting a perfect side view, that it in any way has any kind of a dip here, then that means it's too high and too long. And you need to take it down from here to here to where when you're looking from the side, this is before you put a notch or bevel or anything. When you're looking from the side, it looks perfectly straight. See? And then you're going to determine, well, do I want to put a notch? See now, here's the thing. If I, just a minute, let me get that off there. If I come in here and I just take this out, clear back to here, right away, that's going to change everything in my view and the way I look at the whole foot immediately. See? Um, and so I would go and do that first and then look at the bottom of your foot. See? Um, and then, because see, once I do this, look at here. If I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to decide to put a notch in. And like, say I was to tell you, well, I think you should put a notch in here to here. You're going, oh my goodness sakes, that's terrible. But then if you have that part off, it's not quite so bad, you see. And maybe I wouldn't go up quite that high. I don't know. Maybe about to here. But you see how it's not as bad as it looks? Because this whole chunk here has grown way out of bounds. Did you put something on the foot there? It sure looks.
Yeah, she has glue-on shoes on right now
Okay. Okay.
with wedges to try and
Lift the
help.
back of the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and see, the only reason the back of her foot isn't high is just because everything kind of took over here. And
Yeah.
this whole piece, I mean, you got a pretty good chunk there. Like more than what I even had. Maybe not. Maybe not. And stuff. So it's funny how these feet will do that to you. And it just sneaks up. And so, yeah, don't look at the sole. I mean, we kind of do, yeah, for sure. But the sole is the most deceptive part of the foot. Okay. Does that help you, Rachel?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And you can contact me anytime too. I know I said I was going to come up there, but things just didn't work out.
Didn't happen.
I was wanting to go visit my mom, and that didn't work out either. So,
Mm.
Guess we'll just have to see each other in the next life. We're a close family. Okay. Um, yeah. Now this foot did not, well, it's still, yeah, even the cartilage on this foot got pulled down some. Really interesting. Okay. Okay, so now let's go back to Natalie's horse. And I know she's here somewhere. Okay. Okay, is that showing up? Right there?
No, new share.
New share? Okay. There we go. Alrighty then. So which foot is right hind? Is that what this is?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that was in March.
In March. Okay. Of this
And that
year's.
was a comparison. So number one was the oldest. Number two, somewhere in winter, and then three was in
Okay.
March. But
Okay.
now they're looking different again. So the
Hey.
September ones are the most recent ones.
Okay. If I'm
So,
silent, it's because I'm looking.
yeah, this was just to show that I think I made some progress in the shape of his feet because they
Mm-hmm.
started off too round
Yeah.
and now they're more oval or spade shaped. So I think that got better.
Okay. Is
Also in
that
the front feet, they were completely round in the
okay?
past.
So this is where's the current ones?
Um, that's probably the batch I sent you first.
Okay.
That is 20.
Oh, that's 24.
Yeah,
See, now it's interesting when you look at his feet here, just look, and you can really see how the cartilage is bent down.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
see now, you imagine taking a pair of pliers, okay, and forcing and bending the back of that foot down while shoving the part of the plier up into the bottom of the foot. That's actually what happens to these horses. Uh,
yeah,
it's not only pulling the back of the foot down, it's also shoving parts of hoof capsule up into the foot as well.
yeah. It's absolutely horrifying.
It is. It's terrible. Let's see. New share. See here, you can really see it. See it
Yeah,
there? Pull down. So, of course, this part will jam into their foot because this is literally being forced down in an unnatural position. Curled in, forced down, other parts shoved up. Um, and then people wonder why these horses get. Have you ever had a problem with abscesses in him
just once.
once?
Yeah,
It's amazing they don't get them more often, but a lot of people have chronic
yeah,
abscesses.
yeah,
You know, you're always hearing barefooters talk about abscesses.
yeah,
You know, well, if I had, what is an abscess? It's a blister that turns into a wound because you have ill-fitting shoes.
yeah.
You know,
No, at least in this respect, he was lucky.
Oh, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
At least in this respect, he was lucky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
Not to add in,
otherwise,
yeah, so he didn't add insult to injury.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so January, February, this is 9/4. This is current, right?
I still see the old picture.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, just a second. I forgot to change. Oops. There we go. So this is right hind,
Yeah,
and you can just see how his bulbs are forced down,
yeah,
you know, and how it sucks the digital cushion down because there's the frog stay. All this is supposed to be clear up here.
absolutely. Yeah.
And so it still goes that you need to really grow this part of the foot here. See, really allow this to add this capsule up and push this foot up. And let's look at your sole shot here.
That's a front.
Okay. That's the rear.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. 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 So, hmm.
And I
I'm
never do anything to his heels except try to um swipe over them once or twice with the fine side of
uh-huh.
the rasp just to get them flat again. But he wears them off himself.
Let's see here. I want to go back to that hind. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Now, is this the rear foot?
No, that's front left, but it's also 24.
Okay, so I'm going to suggest something here. Maybe, maybe not.
So you see where he started from, and I think now they're at least better than
Oh, yeah.
then.
Yes.
I think you have to scroll up because these are I sent you the older ones later just for
Oh, okay.
comparison. And
Okay,
the
that's why.
first batch is yeah, these. They are
Okay.
from now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes, this looks better. Yeah, and the hoof wall quality looks pretty decent as well. See, now in what I just said a little while ago, if you were looking at this foot, what would you do?
Flatten yeah, what? The wall.
Yeah.
Try to flatten the thing with the ground contact. I don't know how
Yes.
to say that. It's too round, dips down.
See, this is what happens is okay, so you see how long this piece is here. But now let's go over here to this one.
Yeah,
See it there? And
yeah,
so what happens is when, let's see here. What happens is when you allow it to look like that, what you don't realize is that it's too high and too long. Well, it will jam back up this way um, a lot of times, and then it's going to grow forward and it's going to add capsule in down here.
yeah,
And then it just, eventually it may push the toe back, but one thing it's going to do is it's going to pull the cartilage down and and the heel forward
Yeah.
here too. And again, look at that. I didn't mean to do that, but that's kind of the shape of a notch
Yeah.
that they
Again.
wind up
Yeah.
making in their own feet. Um, let's see here. Let me undo this. And so, let's say if this is me, I would come in here and I would rasp this off until I was looking at. Now you're a little forward here, so you might want to take a view that was more right side on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would want to take this down. Well, irregardless, I would bevel all this maybe back to the white line,
Yeah.
you know, and work at getting this out. So you bevel it, it's up like this, it's gonna fall back. Bevel it. It's gonna eventually you'll excise all this excess wall out. This
Yeah.
horn tubule here will come back about like so or so,
Yeah.
you know.
Maybe I wasn't aggressive enough with beveling. Do I really rasp away the water line as well? So really to the white line.
Yeah, to the white line in this area here.
Okay. Okay.
In a few days, you'll come out and it'll almost be like you didn't bevel it.
Yeah.
See, all this will want to drop down like so. See, I want to look at the front of this. I want to look at a front view if you took one. Let's see here. Okay. Somebody's playing. Let's see here. Just a second. So eventually here, and maybe we'll go through that next week, and I'm going to show about how to remove some of this wall so that the heels will decontract better. But for now, see you have the same thing that I had, which is these super curled in walls, except your frogs are more contracted than mine. So you see how they're curled in, and when it curls in, it makes the bars curl out like that. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so what I did on my horse was I just, and I can go through a bunch of pictures. And again, what are you taking down? The part we just looked at is going to be right here
Yeah.
on both sides. Okay, so what I finally did when I realized all this was going on, I, let's see here, I literally cut these hooks up. Look at this. Okay, so your wall comes clear back to here, right?
Yeah.
So that's weight bearing. Okay, so this hook on my horse, I took that whole thing off.
That much.
Oh,
Okay.
oh
I
yeah.
only took away about 2 millimeters, but
See,
that's more.
I took off about that much on each side.
And what happened then?
No, absolutely nothing. The heels
Okay.
started widening out.
And and you took it away in one go or
Yeah, I took it
gradually?
away in one go. I'll show you some pictures.
Okay.
You know, um, uh, and I also, took took some of this bar down. You know, but I can show you pictures to where I didn't even know my heels were curled in like that because everything had grown in such a way to disguise it. Okay. And so then finally, when I really started taking my bars back and stuff, it started to reveal itself. And I just don't see how these heels can decontract when you got this chunk of, and there may be buttress there, okay? But when you have this so curled in like that, I mean, that is just all strengthened in there. And so, I did it a number of times.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
Um, and I'll show you some pictures, but I also had more heel in than you do. So maybe before you do that, you can work on this area here
Yeah.
first, okay? Let's work on this area first and see if we can get what's there to stand up more and to straighten up a little more that way. And then in a couple weeks or so, reevaluate and see if it's a prudent time to remove that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But can
Can do that.
okay, but can you see mechanically how that just this little nub turned in would almost be impossible to decontract the heels,
Absolutely.
you know? So, okay. All right. So for you, it is also to make sure you level the foot and then bevel the foot.
Yeah. To the
Okay?
white line.
Yes. And uh yeah, that's all I see here right now. Um, you know, other than just kind of stay on the frog and bars a little bit there, and which that looks pretty good. Most of the problem I see is going on in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the frog that was much worse some
Mm-hmm.
time ago. He's getting along nicely, and
Yeah.
it's quality. I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, I think you're doing great. See, and now we look at it back here. See how close these are
Yeah.
in here, and so you would be doing this. Wait. Oh, let me put it back. Uh, okay. You would be, well, see, you would be just taking this off here. And once you see that, it doesn't look like much from back here, does
Still pretty much.
it? Well, I guess I'm so used to doing it. But
Probably.
then imagine that the horse is now bearing his weight further out here. So, because his foot should be going like this. See?
Yeah.
Linda, could you make your line a little wider? I can hardly
Oh,
see it on my laptop even.
yep. Yep. Just
Oh my
Thanks.
gosh, thank you for saying that. I thought it was just me.
no, it's not just you. Okay. His foot should be at least this wide. Ah, what happened? I lost my thing.
I mean, I already told you we um, always called his feet Chinese feet even before I
Oh,
discovered
really?
tact.
Ha,
Um,
that's funny.
and we knew they were too small, way too
Mm-hmm.
small, but they just didn't decontract.
Yeah. Yeah, and part of the problem too is getting this part of the heel, all of this, all of this part of the heel, higher to raise the bulbs because consequently when it's low, it tends to want to pull in anyway.
Yeah,
That because of the way the thing is built,
yeah.
you know. But say these heels should be more out here, like so. See, and then this would be wider, this would be up here. Something like that. I'm not very good at drawing this part. And then the frog would be in here. Something like that. Okay. Now, is there any questions or anything else you want to know, or
So I notch both of his back feet,
you
or
mean like
just
this?
the right hind
You mean like this, or do you mean in the side?
in the side. So
In the
I
side.
bevel the front feet more aggressively,
Hmm.
keeping the quarters really flat, so the thing that is on the ground, so that they're
Yeah.
short enough.
Yeah.
Um, I keep at the bars and the frog anyway, and we've before we looked at the right hind that is really collapsed, and there you told me to notch um that foot.
Okay,
And
this
would it
foot here.
be no the that's a front foot. That's the left hind. So would I notch this too, or just the right? So is it
Um,
better to work symmetrically and do the same things on both?
okay, just a minute. I
That's
gotta go back and find the foot. The same principle holds for all the feet as far as look at the side. Like, let's look at this foot. See, that foot looks pretty straight, right? See, that's a pretty good side view. And so that foot looks pretty straight from here to here.
yeah,
Okay. So what you're wanting to do on this foot is you're wanting to continue to grow these in here and keep this shorter so that it
yeah,
can move back. Like this
yeah,
piece here could move back. So you can still bevel from from up here to here.
yeah,
Okay. And so bevel that so that it'll be tempted to push this back. I don't think you need notches exactly.
mm-hmm,
Okay, I think you need to grow this right here and grow on this other foot too. Grow back here. But if you allow this area here to grow and then you keep this flat butt with a bevel as well, all these horn tubules be tempted to stand up and push back and allow, and they will actually help this grow as they're forcing everything kind of
yeah,
back and the anatomy is pushing up. And so you're wanting to grow this area in and add hoof capsule back into here, back here.
yeah,
And of course, some of this too is the fact that the heels are curled inward as well.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of uncurling. The more height you can get to the back of the foot, the more tempted or the foot is to uncurl. See?
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, so like this is the left front. Okay, so on the other foot, we saw you had it straight across, right? But on
It's
this one, you've got the dip.
yeah,
So you need to come in here and make sure this is straight across, that you're not seeing any kind of a dip like this, because
yeah,
that means it's high and long. Even if it looks flat from underneath, it looks flat from underneath because for some reason we have a tendency, we have habits, and the way our eyesight and everything like that is that you would have a tendency to leave this high. And so what
yeah,
happens is when you do it, then it pushes back up into the foot. See, and it levels the foot out because it's dovetailed.
yeah,
And eventually it adds all this into the foot and then it grows, see, and it grows forward and it adds capsule into the foot. So whereas you flatten the other side, you tend to allow this side to be
yeah,
high without realizing it.
yeah,
So you have to go by the pictures and not by what your eyes are sighting on the foot necessarily.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
You could be looking at it, it looks plumb level from the,
Absolutely.
okay? But then when
I
you look
need to
at
take
this,
more pictures. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
at this, you know, at some point you've been leaving this high. And so it's done this number. Like, let's go back and look at the front of this is left front.
Yeah.
Let's see. And this is left front. Just a minute. Okay, so this left front. Oh, darn. Let me go back this way. Well, it's kind of hard to see here, but you can kind of see there's a bulge in the wall right here. See?
Yeah, yeah, little, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be from that. See, not only will it, in this case, it's pushing back, so you're not seeing a lot of jamming straight up, but what you are seeing is a little bit of bulging right here.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we're just looking at how he's standing there, trying to figure out how that may be affecting how he stands. I don't know. I mean, it's not a big uh deal, but look here, if I look on this foot, um, you're straight here. See, pretty nice and straight. But you can all see, here's the thing too, horses in the wild, in the very perfect environment for them, which they thrive in the desert. Okay, their feet, they thrive in the desert when they also have water. Like the best feet of any wild horses are those on the Salt River, where they spend the day in the river eating river grass and the night out on the bank in the desert with the saguaro cactus. You know, so they got the perfect balance there.
Yeah.
And can't remember where I was going with that. But anyway. Okay, let's go back this way. So this left front. Yeah, you see, you keep it straight there. And that's the medial. And let's look at the lateral side on that. Well, where'd we go? Oh, well. You might be leaving this side a little high too.
I think
Although,
I have more problems with the medial side.
yeah,
I have to look at them again.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what we want to read, except in a case like this, you would have bent growth rings just because your heels are trimmed out and your foot is bent. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you could have bent growth rings if you're leaving part of it high, see, and it may be jamming upward. That can happen as well. So, see, for everything, there's another reason for it. Yeah, I mean, like you can really see here how these heel buttresses should not be right here. You know, and
Absolutely.
look at that. See that funny little line there? So that probably is heel buttress.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
But if I take that away,
Well, he's
then
it, the point is it being it's not really stabilizing the foot. It's binding the foot and holding the heels in. And so it'll grow back. Okay?
okay. And
So
hopefully from another place then.
yeah, because it takes away some of the strength of the way the foot is contracted.
Yeah.
And then the foot will widen out. See,
Okay.
that's what happened to my horse's feet. They helped it widen out, you know, because once that's really curled in like that, that's like an arch. You know, how they say an arch is really strong.
Yeah.
So you consider this part to here is like a almost like a Springer arch here, and so it's going to be really hard for this wall to pull these heels
Yeah.
wider
Yeah.
because of this one little piece here.
Yeah.
See, so
Okay, that
heel
makes sense.
buttresses are great if they're in the right place and stabilizing the foot, But if your foot has been distorted and grown, then they're stabilizing the foot in the wrong place.
Yeah.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the front. And it's the same thing on all the feet, you know. Front feet, back feet, they're all the same. We
Yeah.
apply the same principles to all of them, you know. So what we're discussing is not just specifically what you should do with these feet, but principles in general that you need to follow. See? And
Okay.
so
So one last question. Now,
yeah,
the left hand, you see the little notch I tried to make?
yeah.
And should I make this bigger as well?
Or you could
Is-
just bevel.
Or just bevel?
Yeah. Okay, now I
Okay.
remember what I was going to say about how horses in the wild are a lot of times and when they're grazing, okay, like it's different than a horse that has a lush green pasture. Okay, a horse in the wild where the grass is what you call sparse, like there's wisps of grass here and there,
Mm-hmm.
right? They have to roll back and forth on their feet. That's how they graze. They're aiming to get whatever is closest. They're not going to waste any energy, right? So they roll on the side of their feet a lot on the quarters. They'll roll over to grab a bite here and then roll over to grab a bite there. And so they actually wear their quarters almost as much as the toe and the
Okay.
heel. They
Yeah.
they wear the quarters and they keep them short so that the quarter does not grow long and distort the whole foot. See? And that's also why when the foot does get distorted, the quarters break out. So, you know, so yeah, you can bevel those quarters. And sometimes I've even beveled my quarters from the top with the foot on a stand, you know, from here to here. You know,
Yeah.
so you can do it from the bottom, you can finish it off from the top. Uh and you see and that allows these heels. See this piece of heel right here?
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, so that is actually at a lower angle than your dorsal wall. You know, on these feet, it's kind of hard sometimes to see, but yeah. So if you were going to do a notch, you'd want to come further back here.
Yeah.
See, about
I
like
think
so.
I made the same mistake as Rachel.
Mhm.
I looked from,
The bottom.
yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it the bottom will fool you all the time because
Yeah.
really, the real foot on this horse, if these cartilages were up here,
It would be further back.
further back, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question about this foot.
Okay.
How long is the dorsal wall in inches?
Oh, wait a moment. Um, so hind feet in inches. So
Awesome.
if if you measure to the ground, you see that the he bevels his toes
Mhm,
himself. And
Uh-huh.
if
mhm.
I measure to the ground, then it would be 3.3 inches. And if I just measure to the end of the wall, then it's
Mhm.
3.15 inches.
Okay. Um, okay, that's pretty good. I was gonna
And
say if it's 3.5 inches, um, you can be safe to take your horse down to 3 1/4 usually, just so people know. So,
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, so he's actually there by himself. And the fronts are around 3 inches. They're a bit shorter.
and here's something too, and that is if you do have pretty good sole and you can take the toes down, take the front of the foot down to stand them up. That helps the back of the foot decontract also because you're taking the dorsal wall down, which is going to stand all those horn tubules up straighter
Yeah,
and
but
raise the back of the foot. So,
I already did that. But
oh,
since
okay.
I'm around 3 inches, I didn't want to take any more.
No, you're good.
Okay, yeah.
And stuff. They don't look long, you know.
No, they aren't. And he really wears them off. It's probably also due to his problems with posture and his gait. He doesn't lift his feet very well, so he
Uh-huh.
kind of I don't know how you say that. He- if you don't
I
lift your feet and then your
You're
toes,
dragging your toes.
yeah, he's dragging his toes.
Okay. And stuff. Well,
Sometimes.
okay.
Pardon?
Well, that's okay. Not that he's dragging his toes, but that he's maintaining his. I mean, I can look at his dorsal wall and it looks good to me.
Yeah, at least he doesn't make long toes.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah, it's got a nice angle. It's not real low or anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I'll do that. And then can I send you pictures again
Yes.
after 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks?
Yes. Yes.
And then we'll take it from there.
Okay. And then we'll go through this deal on cutting down those hooks. I call it
Yeah,
hooks.
yeah. I'm
And
panicking already, but
I'm panicking
I'll
already. Well,
I'll
and
follow your advice.
I will show you what I did to my horse and how it never affected him in any
Okay.
negative way. And the feet widened out.
Okay,
Okay.
we do that.
Okay.
So thank you very much,
Well,
Linda and ladies.
you're
And
welcome.
now I'll go to bed soon.
Okay. Well,
I'll
thank
check
you for
out.
sharing your story with us.
Thank you for listening and see you next time.
Now, what was the name of your horse?
Memory.
Memory. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, now this is a good thing because the feet are made out of materials that have memory. And so, do you know what a memory material is? Like they call it
Ah, yeah, yeah,
memory
yeah,
foam.
yeah,
Okay, so the cartilage and the digital cushion are biological memory materials. And so they have memory DNA built into them that they want to return to where they're supposed to be. See?
yeah,
But they're being held and bound by the hoof capsule.
yeah,
And so what we're doing is we're just changing boundaries so that the foot can pull up or move where it's supposed to, and then grow the hoof capsule from a better location.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, good night. Have a good sleep.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh boy, oh boy. Okay. Well, okay. All right. So now what do we want to talk about? Does somebody have something they want to talk about on their horse or something that we've been talking about or um anything like that?
Yes, just a quick question, Linda. Hi, Linda. It's Linda.
Hi. Hi, Linda. The
Um,
Y.
yes, but Linda with an I is awesome.
Well, so is Linda with the Y.
Um, So can we go back to the beveling to the white line? So I'm a little bit confused because I'm not touching the back of the foot. Like I've not been doing anything to the back of the foot. I've just been trying to let it grow. So
Okay.
and I know, so his heels are wall, right? So it's not heel, it's wall. So where do I start really safely beveling? Do I go
Okay.
from the point of where the heel would be and give it like a quarter of an inch and then start beveling, or do I go a little further away?
Well, okay, so your heels, even if it's false heel, if it's just sidewall,
Yeah.
okay, it would be in front of the false heel. Let me show you just a minute here.
Can I send you a picture of Hal's rear that I've just a recent picture?
Yeah,
And then,
yeah.
okay. All right, hang on just a second. I will do that. Because I think that's where I'm messing up.
Okay.
Give me one moment. And I know I've got your right email address, so I mean Facebook contacts, so just give me. Where are you, Linda, with an I?
Oh, I'm here.
I know, I'm just joking on
Oh,
Facebook. So I will send you a couple so that we can.
okay. Okay.
All right.
Let's see here.
So
Share. Oh, we're there.
maybe I should send you what his side profile is on that.
Okay, yeah.
Uh, and this was just like recently trimmed Friday. So
Okay.
I've been working on keeping the bars down and trying to get the frog and just trying to keep that toe low, right? Like that was Frankenhoof.
Frankenhoof. This is me putting parts together to try and show her what the foot should kind of look like. You got to use your imagination.
That makes me laugh so much,
Yeah.
Frankenhoof. All right, so these are pictures from
Well,
today.
well, I wouldn't think you'd need to bevel anywhere on him because look, his quarters are already off the ground, you
Okay.
know. Um,
But I just need to make sure the medial is the same as the lateral, right? Which I don't have a picture of the
yeah.
medial. I'll do that. I'll make sure the medial is the same lateral, but I
Yeah.
mean,
And see, so we're already seeing the medial here.
yep,
Looks like but he's flared out on both sides because his feet went wide
yeah,
instead of contracting
that's correct.
like
Yeah,
Natalie's horse did.
yep,
So yeah. And see, he's got more extended cartilage than what Natalie has as well. It's just that they're pulled down.
yep,
And you can see the big wide bulbs,
yep,
you know. And so there's hoof wall yet to grow underneath here.
yep. And that's periopal. That's in between there, right? In between the crack,
Yeah.
right? So I've been working on that, right? Just trying to take his, and I've really been trying to work on the apex.
And he doesn't really, he has these wispy non-bars,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And that one, the medial bar, so it, you see all that feathering, right? So that sort of, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's the lateral where her hand is, the
Okay.
inside where
You're
the, yeah,
talking about right here.
Yeah, like all that feathering, like, no, I want to take that out. I want to take my knife and scoop that out, and but there's a part of me that says I should just leave it.
Yeah, probably for now
Okay.
and stuff. So it's this part here that's gonna have to grow and grow. Um,
Yeah.
uh, y you maybe could take, well, nah, I just wouldn't even, not at this point.
We don't want to try to get to the seed of the corn. Like we
No,
just want to leave it alone.
yeah, I wouldn't.
So I'm worried because that was the foot that the farrier had last winter, let the bars really badly overgrow, and then he wound up having a massive solar abscess. And in fact, where that feathering is on the medial, that's that
Where it
whole,
was?
yeah, it actually was literally almost came down to where his apex was.
Yeah,
That like that whole part of the sole was gone. Like, oh, you could see the lamina underneath, and that was
yeah,
pretty scary. That scared the crap out of me.
yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
Well, see, and so now he's hollow right here because this ain't his real seed of the corn.
right,
His real seed of the corn is buried up under here somewhere,
right.
you
Yeah,
know. But on this side here, I think you could define that just a little more right in there,
okay, all right.
you know,
Yeah,
because you can, and see, you can see where the sole, this sole is more forward on the foot. It may look like the seed of the corn, but it wasn't.
right.
Real seed of the corn is way up under here,
Yeah,
so when this all unwraps and adds more to it, eventually that part will become uncovered, and eventually it'll grow its real soul in. But
so with this foot, just not bevel, just make sure that the medial is the same
yeah,
what the lateral is, and just
yeah,
on working on the frog.
yeah, and just kind of work on this bar here a little
Yep,
bit, you know. Yeah, because he already is not bearing any weight. And was this the lateral that we just looked at that had the
yep,
arch,
yep,
you
yep.
know? So there's no need to bevel because
Okay,
it's not, you know, let's look at it again here. Yeah, see? Nope, nope, I don't think you should bevel that.
okay.
Just need to grow. Let this back of this grow. It does look like he has a little pressure on the toe. He's got some bruise in there.
That was all the way around that redness, and I think that had was been growing down since he had that massive solar abscess.
Okay, okay, yeah.
It was all the way around the foot. So I've been watching it grow down for months now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And when I took a measurement of the dorsal wall, like it's sitting at I think 53 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
and the length is at just over 3 1/4,
Okay.
3 1/4 inches.
Yeah, he should be fine then. And because he doesn't have, real strong heel buttress, he doesn't have a real strong sole.
Right.
And so yeah, you don't want to take off anymore. You know, just try and maintain this kind of where it's at and just keep letting this grow.
Okay.
And sooner or later it will see, it takes a long time sometimes to start seeing it.
Right.
So you want to look at this area here. Okay. A lot of times what you'll see is you got this and then it'll go wide. Okay. So you want to keep an eye on this area in here a lot of
Okay.
times because you'll see it seem to start to get less like that. That's because this wall is adding up into there and pushing all that up.
Okay.
See, and then eventually it'll push the back of this foot up and then start to unwind. It starts to unwrap as it gets higher. you know. So all this will get stronger as this gets more grown in back here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Where am I at?
And you can see that I'm like it's hard to tell. Oh, you can't see the tubules because of that white foot, right? But you can see the growth lines. When I'm looking at that picture from the front of the foot, you can see that there's some issues there, right? Like the way that it seems like there's pressure where you see it being unbalanced on both sides, that it's flaring out.
Yeah. Well, and I think part of it is the foot is bent. You're
Right.
talking about this little flare here?
Well, yeah, and, when we look at that picture from the front, the very front of his foot,
Okay.
and when we were looking at the flares, so that's because of it being bent, of being up inside, being
Yeah.
still so contracted.
Yeah, because let me see here. Go back to this page. Yeah, because the foot is bent, and so these bulbs are pulled down, and it's
Right,
pushing the wall out. In fact, you can even see how it's doing it here.
yeah,
See, it's pushing the wall out that way, and so yeah, so it's kind of chipping on its own too, isn't it?
yeah. So
Yeah.
cleaning out the frog like that makes me like I'm terrified to go down low into where that crack is.
I don't blame you.
Like
You
I don't
know,
want to touch that.
yeah.
So
Well, I don't think you need to touch that. I think
okay.
that's fine and stuff. Now, were you gonna get a Proxon?
So I've been using my Dremel and I bought a ceramic bit,
Oh,
and
okay.
I've been doing that as well as using a knife. I bought myself a really good loop knife and been
Good.
using that. So I've been creating the fake central sulcus there,
Okay.
uh,
Good deal.
right, and trying to keep on pulling back that apex, right. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's looking good. Only other thing I'd do is I'd round off these sharp edges and stuff on the
okay,
frog,
okay,
things like that. But it looks good. I mean, uh, see, everybody is doing a much better job than the professionals. Sorry, but have you looked at some of these trims? These people come on and say, my farrier, my barefoot trimmer just trimmed the horse, and you're going, what'd they trim? Except for the heels. They leave a ton of old, decrepit uh sole. I mean, it's like do a Mustang roll, take the heels down, collect your $75 and on to the next person,
yeah.
you know. And not that they're doing that on purpose, like, but that's what they're taught to do. And especially professionals, of course, we don't want to do anything to make our horses sore for sure, but they're even more leery of it because they don't want to lose customers, right? And so a lot of times they don't take something maybe they should. That or you'll have the exact opposite person who will just, drape the foot. So
So
like
this
they're
foot
gonna,
is the exact opposite of the lady in Germany. It's similar to
yeah,
Rachel's foot, right? That it's more, um, and all 4 feet are like this, right? Like his whole
yeah,
feet are all like pancakey, I guess, is that what the terminology
yeah,
that they used, right? So
yeah,
because his heels have been totally taken away for,
yep,
yeah. So just
yeah.
keep on working at the frog.
I would, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
And
And like I said, take
yeah,
that little bit of bar, kind of start taking a little bit of that corner out there,
and
maybe.
rounding my frogs better.
Yeah, yep, looking good.
Thanks, Linda. I really appreciate that.
Well, appreciate having you here too, because everybody's story helps the overall information of what we're learning, you know. So, okay. Do, Frankenhoof. Let's see. See, here's another thing too. When you don't have good support and those heel buttress supporting the back of that foot, so that's another thing the heel buttress does, stabilizes the whole wall. And so when you don't have good heel buttress, that's when you get this stuff where the kind of the walls just kind of melting all over the place. You know, it just has no real stability because you don't have that support of that big those two pillars in the back. Like I got pictures of my horse's foot when he didn't have any heels, and from a frontal view it just looks like his capsule's melting, because there's no stability. You got a 1,200-pound horse inside there, inside this shell, right? And the whole thing that stabilizes it mainly are the two heel buttresses, which support it up in the air the way it's supposed to be. And then the frog can grow in the center and between the bulbs and add more stability. And so you look at these capsules that just kind of look like they're kind of melting all over the place.
And I wouldn't have known any of this, Linda, except for with your help and this group's help, right? Because who takes pictures of your back feet of climbing underneath your horse's belly to right, like
Yeah,
right, like
yeah. And
from the side, it doesn't look like it's melting, but holy crap, it's melting.
yeah, when you look at the front, it's totally different, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you can look at it and say there's no stability there,
absolutely none.
you know? Um, I'll have to try and find that picture, this one picture. Well, I got a bunch of them somewhere, but see, and nobody takes pictures like we do. Okay? Um, every single trim for years and years and years. You know, like I said, I probably have 80,000 to 100,000 photos just of Valor's feet. You know, every trim, before, during, after, and in between to the next trim, that's a lot of photos. And not just one picture of each side of the foot. Because what do you take? You take the front, lateral, medial, you know, caudal or the rear, and then looking down at the heels, and then the sole. The one picture I hardly ever take is that one they all take with the foot picked up from the side and looking kind of at the side of the foot. Um, and they either taken pictures of the sole, which is the most deceptive, or of the foot picked up looking at the side. You know, does
I
anybody else?
take that, Linda, I take that view so I can see what I've got for a breakover on the toe.
Yeah, and that's good because you're taking the other pictures too. But
Oh,
all
yeah.
they do take is a lot of times that side view. You know, um, they take views that will kind of make the foot look the best instead of taking all these pictures. Like I'll take a lateral view from different angles and uh different distances. I'll take looking down at the heels and then gradually coming up to where it's at the sole. And so I'll take maybe 5, 6, 7 views of those heels going different ways. Um, 3, 4, 5 of the side of each side, a couple of the front and a couple of the rear. So probably anywhere from 10 to 15 pictures of every foot before, and then some during, and then 10 to 15 of every foot after, you know. Uh, so so you really learn things about photos. Like now I've been noticing and it would be, I can understand the temptation to do this because depending on what angle you take of those feet, you can make them look better just by taking them at a different angle. Like, I noticed this. I noticed people doing this. I'm not saying they do it on purpose, but you could do it on purpose. You understand? And that is, you can make it look like you improved a foot by where you place your camera. Like I could take a shot to take a really good shot from the side. Here, let me go back here. Okay, so this is pretty good. This is a pretty good total side shot here. You know, you're not seeing too much of the toe. Um, it could come back just a hair, and then it would be a perfect profile shot. All right. But now, here, let me get the annotator going here. Well, come on. Just a minute here. Okay, so if I get a straight on shot, okay, to get a good profile shot, I really can't even come in the middle. I have to come kind of over here a little more. And then I have to aim it this way. See? And then I'll get, like a lot of times what I'll do is I'll come all the way back till I almost see the other bulb, like I got the camera, and I'm just taking it straight back this way. Okay? Till and as I go, I'm keeping it aimed towards the foot to where I just barely see the other bulb, and then I'll come back this way, like so. And then that way I know I'm getting a perfect shot of the cartilages, and I will aim towards the center of the foot or some right in here. And that way I know I don't get a toe. Like here, you've got in front of that much of the toe. You see there? But if I come more this way from here, I'll get even more of the toe in the shot. And so let me undo this here. And so what you can do is if you take a picture that is more from the front, you can make it look like the horse has better heels than he does. And if you take a picture straight on from the side to where you're really seeing the cartilage, a lot of times you see just how run forward and screwed up those heels really are. And so what I've been noticing, and it's not because I'm going around looking purposely, because I'm not. It's just that because of what I do and am interested in, I have stuff running through my feed, you know. And so these people come on, they'll say, oh, yes, this is how the foot was, and we fixed it in one trim, and all they really did was they may have trimmed off some toe, and then in the picture that they originally took that was more back this way, that showed the reality of the heel, they're now taking more from the front. And so it makes the heel look better anyway. And because they also took a little bit down of the toe, see how that would, just doing that, you see how that would change the heel, how the heel looked on this foot just by taking that much toe down? It's going to make that heel look like it really stood up and all that. Well, it didn't. It's the same foot. It's just that you took some toe down and you took your picture from a different position. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm guilty of that.
Yes, totally.
Well, we all want our feet to look better, and stuff. But see, I have been tempted to do that. All right, simply because of the position I'm in, that I am kind of not made, well, maybe made to feel, I don't know. I feel like I should be doing better than I am, right? So let's just take a picture and make that foot look just a little better, But you know what? I see that temptation, so I don't do it. See? Because this is research, and here's the thing, you're made to feel kind of guilty if your horse's feet don't look just right, right? Am I wrong?
We
You're
all want
correct.
them to look great.
Oh, what did you say, dear?
I said we all want our horses' feet to look great, even when they
Yeah,
don't.
yeah, yeah, because there's kind of a stigma going on, you know. And you see it on tacti. Well, how come you've been trimming so long, but your horse's feet still aren't perfect? Well, there's a whole big explanation behind that, you know. I trimmed the feet out of him for 10 years and deformed them. And now it's taken, let's see, almost 10 years. How about that? We're coming on 10 years to even learn what the true foot of the horse is. Because it wasn't just about growing heels. It's about that whole internal foot was deformed. We did not know that right away. And stuff like, Marilyn, were you in the first webinars we did in 2016?
No, I started September of 18.
Okay. So, I was helping people on that community page I have. I didn't have a hoof group. And I just did the webinars because I thought, oh, then I won't have to help people. you know, yeah, whatever. And then some smart aleck, uh, I did those webinars for free. And then some smart aleck took the webinar, thought she had the right. Barb Miracle. Okay. She thought she had the right to come and make a tacked hoof group without asking me or nothing. Right? Uh, and so, at that point, I didn't even know they had groups. Okay. Still kind of hated Facebook too. And, but she thought she had the right to make a freaking hoof group out of my gosh dang webinar. Okay. So that kind of got me going there. She comes on, oh, I just thought, we needed to have a hoof group. Oh, well, how nice of you. And so then I started learning about these group things, and I told her, you're either going to have to get rid of this group or you're going to have to assign the whole thing over to me. Because it's my freaking webinar. Who the heck is she? Right? Well, that's the kind of person she was, come to find out. So, and I was nice about it, but I just didn't think that was right. Who are you to do that? Well, I'll tell you who she was. She's another one of them. Another one of those little intellectual thieving people. Okay. And well, that ticked her off. And so she did assign that group over to me, the one we have now. Okay. And then she left. And then she left and badmouthed me up one side and down the other all over the internet. So anyway, and so they'd say stuff like Linda didn't even start that hoof group. It was somebody else. Yeah, it was off of my webinar, you know? So what do you think? You think that was right of her to do? No, it wasn't. And stuff. So I gave her an ultimatum. Look, you either assign this group over to me or you get rid of it because you are not going to own a hoof group that's connected to my work. See? Um, but there's lots of women like that out there. Unfortunately. Okay, so anyway, that's how this hoof group started. But it was within a month. She would have had no group at all. Okay, were it not for the fact that I was doing those webinars. And it was specifically started by her. Oh, we're having these webinars. I think we need to have a hoof group. Well, thanks for asking me. Appreciate that. What's more, she started a private group. And if I had to do it over, it never would have been private. See? Because what happened was it sucked me into that group. And then I let my community page kind of go to the side. And really, kind of what happened all in all was it wound up isolating me to where my research, the movement of the research actually suffered from having a private group. See? Um, so anyway, uh, I've been thinking I got to do something else, like maybe do a newsletter because I don't really feel like I'm able to communicate effectively with enough people to let them know what's really going on, you know. So anyway, thinking about doing a newsletter or something. Cause really Facebook and these groups, um, they're just not all that great as far as effectively communicating research and teaching, you know? So anyway, okay, well, hmm, tell you what, I've met the best people in the world through doing this. And I've met some of the worst as well, I'll tell you. Nasty, narcissistic women, attention seekers, who don't have an original thought in their head, and so they want to steal yours. Say yours that you're giving away, you know, you're giving it away, but they want to steal it and pretend like they dreamed it up on their own instead of being a part of this movement that we're doing where we all contribute. Because I have told you before that I could not be as far along as I am without all of you. You know, the just people showing up for this thing here. Uh, we're learning stuff as we go as well and discovering stuff. These webinars, um, they're not made to make money. If all I want to do is make money, then I'd make short little 10-minute videos and try and then pay, boost them out there and stuff. The other day I did a post where I took that okay, so Milena Minotti, bless her heart, who lives in Argentina, who was with our group for quite a while. Anyway, and then decided she didn't want to be with the group anymore because she would never have a horse. But man, she was so talented. She did some wonderful videos, and she made me that e-hoof, the e-foot, okay, where she took um all that I was teaching on the anatomy of the hoof capsule and the inner foot, and she learned how to do blender, and then she put this foot together. And anyway, it's just a really wonderful thing. And for a long time, I lost the file. And what's really interesting about it is that she put this foot together, and she actually put it together in ways that I don't know quite how to explain it. It's like, okay, she couldn't have put the foot together unless she had been with tact and studying the anatomy that I was learning and discovering, right? But the fact of the matter is that the foot she put together was actually better than what I actually knew in my head or understood at the time, if that makes any sense. Um, like and it wasn't even stuff that she herself would have really, really, really understood. But now, as I look at that foot and I take it apart, I'm like, I realized this here a while back. I thought, you know what? it's like it was in front of us, but we still weren't seeing it, if that makes any sense. It's just like this heel buttress thing. Um, really, really, really comprehending how great, how important it really is. See, how it is the key to the stabilization of the whole foot. So let's go ahead and just look at the E foot. Unless, is there, before I go there though, does anybody else want to look at their horse's feet, or is there anything else you want to know? Uh, let's do that first. Guess not. Okay. Let's see here. Just a second. Let me close out of here. Um, okay, I am looking for my Zoom. Let's see. Do. Okay, so are you sure anybody's here that doesn't want, does anybody want to look at their horse's feet? Eva, what are you up to? There's Janet. There's Kathy's iPhone. Okay, well,
I want to say something really quickly, Linda. I want to thank you for putting together that article about the dorsal wall angles. Because I was at my friend's with her farrier when he was there, and he was putting shoes on the horse, and the angles were not correct.
uh-huh.
So, I we took pictures and everything, and then he made
Uh-huh.
it so that it was correct. So I was like, there you go. And boy, did it ever make a big difference. So
Well, that's great. Good
yeah,
deal.
it was awesome. And then I sent her a copy of that write-up so that she could have it and read it. And but right away she said, "Oh my goodness, his foot looks so much better." I said, "Yeah, because it's at the right angle, right? It's where it needs to be." So
Well, that's great. That's great. You're able to help somebody.
yeah, well, it's
That's
because of you.
that's
You
awesome.
sending out that article, that was awesome. That was a big game changer. I've been actually taking pictures of Hal's feet and using that Hoof M app and then putting the angles on it, which tells you the degrees. And yeah, it's made a big difference. So thank you.
Okay. Are you sure that was me that sent that out?
Yes, it was.
It was?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just a week or so ago.
Okay. Was it that Henry Hamerling
That's
article?
correct. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I see what you're saying. All right. Well, thanks for letting me know that. I'm glad you're able to help your friend.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we're going to take a look at Mr. Ehoof. I'm going to go look at that thing I just did here. Just a minute. Okay, so I posted that on the community page. And just a minute here. Okay. Pictures, eHoof. So, but I'm going to open Blender. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to open Blender. So hold on.
Hey, have you mastered Blender or are you learning it?
Oh, not at all. I've not. I can just kind of take stuff apart.
I
That's
was
all.
wondering when I saw that big post you did, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah, no,
I didn't know if you
I
jumped
wish.
in. No, I didn't know if you jumped in or what was going on because they were great.
Oh, hey, you know what? That's the first time I ever took the whole thing apart and then put it all back together, you
Oh, so
know.
you've learned at least enough to do that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. All you do is click on a spot, hit G, which is grab, and then move it. So I'll
No
show you here.
kidding. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. For that, it's pretty easy here. Okay, so I'll show you a picture here. Let's see here. Okay, where are you? Zoom. Okay, share. Okay, so here I have E-hoof over wild horse cadaver foot. I mean, if it's pretty close, it'd be nice at some point if I ever do get better at Blender to really detail this thing out. You know what I mean? Um, like put the different kinds of coriums and everything. But look, here is wild horse cadaver foot. Okay. One of the few we have where you can see the whole inner foot. All right. And here is Mr. E foot. And I just, kind of tried to leave the same parts on it as on wild horse cadaver foot. So see, it's a good general representation of the horse's foot, the horse's true foot. And so there again. And of course, every horse's foot is just the same, except that maybe a different size, maybe a different width, may be distorted to where the coronary bands pulled all the way down and the heels crushed up into the foot because the heels were worn out or trimmed out. See, foot may be bent. In fact, uh, uh, the fact of the matter is that Casey LaPierre, in his equine podiatry, he did this. Uh, oh, what's he called? It's called a something uh, theory. The internal arch theory is what he calls it. And so he's using a deformed foot for his theory because when you trim the heels out of these feet and it crushes this heel up in like that, it also puts an arch in the side of the foot. You look at this foot, it's flat, right? Look at that. Flat from here to here. Okay? So when you pull this down, all right. And what happens is it's pulling all the anatomy into here, shoving it up into the up into the coffin joint here, which is bending the toe back. What happens? It arches the foot. See, so you have a deformed foot. So it's that situation like Bracy Clark was talking about, how he assumed that as soon as a horse was out of shoes, you had the natural foot. But then he came to realize over years that these feet were actually deformed. And he said, this fact deceived me in all my first experiments, as it did also my predecessors. Okay. And so that deceived me too, because I had a foot that I'd taken out of a capsule that I've been trimming the heels out of for 8 months. And the whole back of the foot was pulled down and I thought I was looking at the real foot, but I was looking at a deformed foot from my trimming. And so, same with equine podiatry. They now have this thing, well, they've had it forever, called the internal arch theory. Okay. And so he uses a real foot in his picture to describe it with this picture on it and stuff. And it is a deformed foot that has an arch right here. Okay, how many people know that or ever thought or was ever taught that the horse had a natural arch in his foot right here? Anybody here
Yeah,
remember?
Casey LaPierre taught me.
Yeah, okay. So, oh, when did he teach you? Did you go to one of his clinics?
No, but a very, very, very good friend went through his entire class,
Uh-huh.
kept going down. And then I had all of her material
Aha.
and studied all of it.
Okay, see there.
So
So
I knew his stuff years ago very well because when she came back home after she quote unquote graduated, I'm like, can I read all that? I would really like to read that. So she gave everything to me.
oh wow, hey, that's great.
Yeah, good friends are like that, you know?
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Well, yeah. Back then I didn't know, like what I've learned from you.
Yeah.
So being green, 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 some of it I questioned heavily. Some of it I'm like, well, maybe, but I
Mm-hmm.
never, I just knew stuff was wrong, so I gave it up.
Yeah, I just had that sixth sense there.
Yeah, my horse was always lame, and I
Yeah, that
knew,
that kind of
yeah,
does
that
it.
did it. But he
Not
would
laughing at that.
not put weight on the back of his foot, on
Yeah,
his heel, and I'm
yeah,
like, something's really wrong with this whole approach.
yeah.
That's how
And
I found you guys.
well, that's great. Well, yeah, and you've been a wonderful friend and a
I
wonderful
try, but I'm
contributor. And
still learning, hey, and spreading the word and pissing off every farrier in Pennsylvania
good, good
to a point.
to a point.
To a point.
Let me
But
see. Let,
but it's so his books were some of my first true education then. And then I just started doing more research based on that, but eventually all of it came back to my horse was lame.
yeah, I'm seeing if I
That's
can.
when that's when I just kept searching on the internet about heels on horses, heels on horses, heel.
Oh, where'd you go? Uh-oh, you got cut out. Darn. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys a picture of that. Just a minute here. Okay, got to remember where that picture's at. Just hold on here. Um, the picture of the internal arch theory, and then a picture of let's see, inner foot, ABC, inner foot, and then a pic. Okay, hold on here. I got it somewhere. Okay, new share. Okay, so this here, okay, we just looked at a foot and you saw that from here to here the foot is flat. Okay, we're going to put it here. Remember, that's why uh, we were saying earlier that when you're trimming and then you're done and you look at the side of the foot, if it looks rounded like that, you want to take this down, even if it winds up being a little, actually even a little higher. Okay. Um, but you want to take this down because ultimately, look at this foot from the side. See, does it look? Do you see this part of the foot going down like that? No. And so this is just what I figured. I figured if I looked at the internal foot from the side, okay, and it didn't do that. Just a minute here. It didn't do this number here to where it looked kind of like that. If that foot didn't do it, this foot shouldn't do it. See, I did that also with how the foot looks on the frontal view. I thought if the frontal view doesn't look that way, then the hoof capsule shouldn't look that way. Like, okay, on a frontal view, okay, you can be down like this. Okay, well, it shouldn't look like that. On these feet here, they don't look like that. On these feet, they look like this. Let's see if I can do this. On the front, it's actually kind of the opposite. It should go like that. It should go like that. See? That's how an inner foot, when you set it down and look at it from the front, it does do that. But on the side, a side view, it it doesn't do this. Okay, it does this. It just is straight, just like what you see here. See how it's straight? So this is what I figured. As I said, if I look at a rear foot and it doesn't do that, then when I look at a capsule, it shouldn't do that either. See? And of course, then later, I started getting a better understanding of how these capsules grow and, all these horn tubules being in alignment and the growth rings being a certain way. And there's always an exception to every rule, come to find out. But so far, not on that anyway, not too much. So let me undo all this. Okay, so this was an example. And now here is the internal, oh, that's what it's called, the internal arch apparatus theory. This is what they teach in equine podiatry. Okay, so let's just take a look at that. Okay, so this is a deformed foot, but he doesn't know it. And this is actually the picture of a real cadaver foot that he's got under here. And so this is what Bracy Clark said. He said that his experiments that he got deceived because he was looking at deformed feet and did not know it. Okay, so what you see here. Okay, look at how the cartilage is pulled down, the coronary band is pulled down to the ground, and see this little piece here? That's probably frog corium right there. The heels are kind of smashed forward somewhat and stuff like that. Now, keep this picture in mind because I'm going to show you uh, this dissected foot that I had of a horse that I know I was trimming the heels out of him. I know now that he had really good feet before I got a hold of him. And but I know that I was trimming the heels out of him. And so just a second here, let me go up here. Okay, it might take me a second here to find, oh, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. See if I can find the picture by itself. Hold on. Oh, well, we'll go back up here. New share. Okay, so this little horse, his name was Toby. He was a little gaited horse, and I was trimming his feet for about 8 months. And of course, I was taking the heels back to the base of the frog. And so here, look at his foot right here. See, this is his foot. This is like the day I took it out of the capsule. And I want you to look at how the back of his coronary band is pulled down. Okay, now we need to go back to, just a minute here, this foot here, because this is anatomically correct. All right, look at how straight the coronary band is. Look at where the heel buttress is growing. Now, of course, he's a wild horse, and yeah, okay, his heel buttress pushed a little bit forward, but look, we still got really good definition of heel, and it's the same angle as his dorsal wall, so he is just fine. All right, so let's go back to this foot here. This is like, I don't remember when I did that dissection, but it's been a good 10 years.
New share?
Oh, yep. There we go. Okay, so you can see how the whole back is pulled down. Now look at this piece right here. That's frog corium. All of this was supposed to be up here. See, when you trim the heels out, it pulls everything down, including starts forcing and pushing the frog corium from that's supposed to be up here down under here. Just a second. Okay, so, well, this is all connected, so it's going to affect the whole foot. So what else does it do? It's crushing and pushing the heel forward. You see how what's this going to grow now? A run forward heel, right? Okay, what else is it doing? It's starting to make a little arch here. See that? So a couple days, I took this foot. This is the same foot a couple days later. I didn't know how to cure it or nothing. I took borax and salt and I covered it with borax and salt and I just wrapped it up in a towel or something. I can't remember now. Maybe a bunch of paper towels. I don't remember. But I remember I put it in borax and salt. And what it did is, like I say, this is memory material, right? And so this memory material shrunk back up to where it pretty much should be. Um, and so I want you to look at the back of the foot here. I want you to look at the area where the heel buttress grows, how now it's straight. So the heel buttress would now be growing, let me see, be growing right here. And the dorsal wall is growing right here. See how it's in the same angle as dorsal wall. Oops, that's not good. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, I may undo this here. Okay, so about like so. Okay. So at the time, I didn't know how to take hoof capsules off, so I taken the frog off and then taken the capsule off, and I had the frog by itself. So I thought I'm going to set this foot. I'm going to set this foot on the frog. And I remember distinctly setting that foot on the frog, and I was like, why doesn't the frog fit it anymore? Because the frog is part of the hoof capsule. And as the foot deforms, it also deforms the frog that grows from it. And so it pulled that frog down up from between the bulbs and it pushed it under the foot. And not only that, but look how it bent the frog. It bent the frog right up into the foot right here. Well, it didn't just bend the frog, it bent the bars up into the foot like that too. How do you think that felt for the horse? Not good. So that's why the foot did not fit on the frog anymore. This is the true foot, the shape and form of it. This is a distortion that is created from trimming the heels too low. Why is that? Because the heel buttress is the main support system for the whole foot. Just a minute here. So grows from here, connects to the heel, then grows down to the ground. It grows under. You see how, okay, the wall here grows down like, stupid thing, just a minute. Grows down from the top here. That's how the wall grows down. The wall, the wall cannot be supported by the coronary band. And they want to tell you that the wall is supposed to bear the weight down here to transfer the weight to this lamina. That's what they believe. Okay. So the wall, just because the weight, first of all, it's dovetailed, it can't bear weight like that. It shares some weight with the convex sole ridge here. Okay. So, but the heel buttress, just look at the way it is. It grows from underneath this back nubbin of the coronary band. Right there, like that. It's this triangular piece of, it's shaped kind of like this. Triangular piece of pillar wall. Column. It's like two columns on the back of the foot, propping the foot up and holding the foot up. And what does it do? It keeps the frog up where it's supposed to be. It allows the frog to grow to a good thickness, because if I trim this heel down here, well, then what's on the ground? The frog. How long before the frog is worn down? But that's not even the main point. The main point is that if I come, this is okay. So this heel buttress supports this up. This heel buttress is all that stabilizes this whole shell of a wall here. Now, it doesn't go back there. Hold on. Okay, so this is how the wall grows. You don't have wall here because your heel buttress is under here, propping up the whole back of the foot. What you got here, okay, is, okay, we'll make this the periopal band. See how that works? Okay, this is periopal back here because the heel buttress is underneath, propping up. And then of course, it goes over and the bar extends from the other side here up and connects into the back of the coffin bone. And so the heel buttress grows from under here. This supports the whole foot. It keeps the wall stable so that it don't look like, because without it, the wall's just, you got a 1,200-pound horse in there. Wall's just kind of merging all over the place. It's like he's in a moccasin instead of a good hardy hiking boot or whatever. So that's one of the things those two heel buttresses do. It keeps the coronary band up where it's supposed to be so that the heel is growing at the right direction in alignment with the dorsal wall. It keeps the ultimate, what would you call it? The ultimate configuration of the whole hoof capsule. See, you know how you have your longest horn tubules in the very center, and then they just gradually get shorter as they move back towards the heel. And so, see, now look here, look at the proportions. Now, this don't look quite right because the foot itself would set more flat. Okay, but it's sitting on this frog, so it's kind of an angle there. So, but it keeps all the proportions just right. Then you have your growth rings. So you got your horizontal horn tubules, and this area of the bulb up here where the hairline would be up here. Okay, so you have these dimensions that are, see, proportions and dimensions. Okay, so let's look at this proportion here. See, now, of course, this isn't going to be perfect, but these are the proportions of the general proportions of the foot. And so you need to start also understanding proportional trimming is not based on necessarily measurements, but you understand how to look at proportions. Like, of course, we always look at this area first. Right up here, you know, the cartilage. How much does it extend behind the foot here? Okay. But another important proportion is this little triangle here. And then all of the growth rings. See? Like so. Why does the capsule have to be like this? Why do the horn tubules have to be in alignment? Why do you have to have this little triangular thing here and then this little no, rectangle, 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 rectangle. Okay, this rectangular area here, and then you have this little triangular area here. These are proportions, and the the length of the heels is about, of course, here. My toe is a little long because again, the foot I'm practicing this on is not level like it should be. Okay, if I was to do this, level out the foot and then draw all this stuff on it, it'd be a little different. Okay, you wouldn't have as much triangular toe here for one thing. And these lines here would line up more with the actual lamina on the foot. So, but you have this rectangular area that shows you that the heels are about 2/3, up to 1/2 to 2/3 the length of the dorsal wall for you to get this triangle. That's and anatomical proportions that it have to do with measurement and yet not. You know, it's proportional, but there are general measurements that can be there for sure. We use measurements to give us general ideas and help us. But all this is to also start teaching us about proportions. Just like when we take and we draw a line down the center of the sole view so we can look at each half, you know, and especially you look up there in the toe. If they aren't the same shape, you know, then you got one toe higher maybe than the other or something like that. So let's see, just a minute. Okay, so this is the way these hoof capsules are supposed to grow, but you see that this heel buttress is vital for everything. It stabilizes the whole capsule. It keeps the frog up off the ground. It keeps the cartilage and the digital cushion and everything up in place where it functions correctly. There is only one way this foot is. There is only one way it functions correctly. It can still function with distortion. It's built to adapt.
Are you muted, Linda? I just got a message from Linda. She said her power went out.
Well, that's not good.
I guess not.
I guess she has storms.
There's more message coming. She said, dang, I should have paid that bill.
What? I
That's
hope she's
funny.
kidding.
I think she was joking.
Yeah, she probably has storms or something coming through because we're just, I don't know, but power
said it's been
outages. So I
raining.
guess we'll just, yeah. So I
Hey,
guess we'll just shut this down.
Hey, Janet,
What?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. This is Berta.
Hi.
Hey, dear. I've got a question for you.
Oh,
If you
Lord.
don't mind. I think I know it, but I'm not 100%. So,
Oh, go for it. I'm in the mood. Go for it.
all right. So you got a horse with its rear foot, hardly no heels, run forward heels. Okay. I know I'm waiting the back of the heel platform. As far as the toe, I don't want the toe to get higher than the heels. Is that what I'm supposed to be doing?
Higher
Like
than the heels.
if I file her capsule flat to sole level almost,
Yeah.
and I'm looking sighting down the back of the foot from the rear to the front.
How far forward is the toe shot? Is it really far out or kind of far out?
Kind of far out.
So the sole's going to be quite thin out there.
Correct. Yep.
See, I'm starting a new horse literally, and I'm in the exact same boat. The exact same boat. I haven't touched her yet.
Yeah.
So what I was going to do, depending on how much taller it is, I was just going to take, and I went with, I called Agaliki too because I wanted backup. I was going to take any wall down to the sole at first, not touch the heels, and then just bevel and let the damn things grow and use the leverage of the toe for a while.
Okay.
Until I get a little bit of heel in the back.
Yeah.
And then when I feel like I have a little bit more to work with, maybe start gently taking the toe down, which brings it back. It all depends on how far out. Like my toes on this horse are really far out. I was like, holy